someone asked how the weather.
Yeah, okay, that's nice, Travis. You just be quiet. Hey, everybody, it's the Weekly Alaboom. Hopefully you're tuning in. I'm sure my compatriots here will tweet out the link whenever I'm lazy. I don't do that. So it is May 27th, 2015. Tonight I have with me the always loquacious Barry Reynolds.
How's it going?
Awesome. We have the Ant-Man, Anthony Ricano.
Hello.
The professional hanger-on of Keith Collins.
That's mule to you?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. My gin's mule, Keith Collins. And somebody else. So, hey, boys. How have you been?
I'm good. Yeah. Doing pretty good.
What were you drinking there, Keith? I saw you had a beer in your hand.
No, I actually have dang, that's good butterscotch root beer.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It is good stuff, and I can't get it around here. I got a buddy that brings it back from Wisconsin.
If for those of you who are like people, Goose Island is a very good small brewery, and they have a like a lot of people like during the summer they go all crazy for like Liney Kugel's summer shandy and stuff like that. But Goose Island actually has a very good summer ale that has like kind of a nice citrus flavor and just a little hoppiness if you're a beer person. So there you go. How's everybody's last week or so?
Don't talk at once.
Jeez, guys, quit talking so much.
It was busy.
Yeah.
Well, how is it busy? How you doing?
I have too many children. Too many activities.
How many children do you have?
That I know of? 4.
What the hell's going on over there?
4.
Keith just spilled his butterscotch beer. Did you, Keith? Did you spill it?
No, I did not spill it. I just had a little bit of a leak I was trying to clean up.
All right.
Nice.
When we get like a Depend sponsorship for the show, we'll hook you up with that. Incontinence is not the joke about.
No. I remember the word incontinence. I remember incontinent. It was like one of those things like it's like a word that you never really knew. I actually learned that word through The Simpsons. That was there was a Simpsons episode where Homer was supposed to roast Mr. Burns, and Homer is like, he says, I wouldn't say Mr. Burns is incontinent, but, and then and then Bart says, haha, incontinent, and then Homer says, haha, incontinent, and then Lisa says, do either of you even know what incontinent means? And then Homer, of course, says, quit ruining our fun. So, but, all right, cool. Hey, I'll be showing this off in a video that I'll be making probably later tonight, but I got my official adventure case from those guys. So,
Nice.
yes, and I of course went with the Viking helm, which was obvious.
What kind of wood?
But I don't know if any of you what?
What kind of wood?
The abyssal tree or whatever.
Okay.
The really good stuff. And I asked for and got the very nice suede color on the inside. And I got lights too. Hold on, I'll turn them on. But yeah, this thing is pretty sweet, man. I can't wait to on Monday. So it was after we played D&D this weekend. But there's my little LED lights on the inside.
Nice.
Ooh, spooky. But yeah, if you are a RPG player, I would strongly suggest getting in on the cheaper Kickstarter price for the sucker. They're gonna sell them after the fact, but I would strongly suggest getting in on the cheaper amount. And it is sturdy, man. I was a little bit worried, because like I knew, like as far as like whenever you hand build like anything out of wood, you're always worried about like the joints and everything being kind of like weird and but this thing, it's like it locks shut tight, and I'll be doing a video for it and talking more about it. But yeah, if you are any of you guys that I'm talking to now, anybody who happens to be listening to it as well, if you had if you're on the fence, I would strongly suggest about getting into it.
I'm going to swing in and see him at Origins next week. They're at Origins in booth 126.
I'll have to stop by.
Very cool.
So you gonna be there, Barry?
You know what?
Yeah, I just bought the tickets and all today. I was up in the air with it because I had some legal stuff going on here. But yeah, I'll be there Thursday.
Stuff? Like what kind of legal stuff?
The legal stuff I got fired for, the back issues, stuff like that. I really don't want to go into it too much, but.
Oh, you were carrying you mean the fact that you were weed?
Yeah. But I'll get in.
No, Barry was not on me. That is completely made of me and is not actually the case whatsoever.
So where's your booth at Origins, Travis? Is it in the bathroom or something? Because it's way back there in the corner.
Thanks.
No, it's near the free play area, so there should be some decent traffic back there. So I know where to find Travis.
To my knowledge, we got the last booth.
Mm.
I think that's what they tell you, right?
Oh, I'm sure that's what they tell you.
It's like a.
Well, they have to tell you it's the last booth,
No, it's not as far away.
My stepfather,
as
for years, my stepfather was a salesman. He sold school buses, and I remember I asked him if he had any and he was very successful salesman. He sold lots of different things, and I said, how did the how did you use any kind of gimmicks or anything like that? And he said, well, he's like, for the first year, a lot of guys that I thought they were my very first sale ever. That was one of his shticks, if you will. So I suppose if you tell everyone, well, we only got one booth left, so you better get in on it now, or who knows. Which reminds me, and of course, you're going to interrupt me now, Travis? I'm going to tell a story. No? Okay. I remember years ago, I had an old broken down Chevy Cavalier that I put in the paper to sell because I got a newer car, and I had it was right after a big flood, and so people had their cars get waterlogged and destroyed. And so I had, I just wanted $500 for the car. I bought it for $500. I wanted to sell it for $500, and I had tons. I had 4 or 5 people call and ask about the car immediately. And I actually, I had a guy actually call me, and he said, "Does it run?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "It's is there anything wrong with it?" I was like, "No." Has there been an accident? He's like, "Not that I know of." And he's like, "Okay, I'll take it, but I can't get it until Monday." And I said, well, I'm not going to hold on to the car for you. If somebody comes in and offers me $500 for it, I'm going to sell it to them. He's like, I understand. And then, a little while later, on that Sunday, a guy came and took a look at it, took it for a test drive, came back. He's like, well, I'll give you $300. And I ultimate trump card. I got a guy coming sight unseen tomorrow on Monday for $500. So you can either take it or leave it. I was like, all right, $500. Just so I felt bad that I couldn't sell it to that other guy because he really needed the car. But you know what? The guy had cash money for me, so there you go. I bored you all. Talk about a board game. Anybody play anything new recently?
I finally played Five Tribes yesterday.
Oh, were you bored?
Nah, it's just what the guys were playing up there, Beer Mongers. It was okay, yeah. Very tactical.
Because you played on just the once?
Yeah. It was very tactical with 4 players. I thought it would be more strategic.
What did you call it, Keith? A great game if you want to sit around and wait for your friends to figure out what they want to do?
Yeah.
That's about right.
I think you described it like that to me once, but I don't know. It was one of those things where I really, really liked the game the first time I played it, and I really liked it the second time I played it, and like on the third time I played it, I was still waiting for it to impress me, and it just wasn't impressing me anymore. So I was just kind of I was upset. So, what do you do?
Yeah, I kind of veered away from it because all the hype it generated, when it first came out. But
That game gave slavery a bad name.
Oh, it's fired.
Other than that, we tried to play Viva Java, the dice game.
Try.
Viva Java.
Tried?
I'm sure we screwed a lot of things up. Me and my wife play that one. The rules aren't so great for that one.
Isn't it Viva Java?
The coffee game,
the coffee game.
I'm telling Kirk.
I'll tell Kirkman. The rules blue.
It was
Yeah,
weird. It was I don't know. I'm not a big, huge fan of the dice game version of the game. The other game. Those tend to I don't know. It seems. I mean, with that being said, like I'm excited to try out Nations the dice game, even though I've heard some things that are not some about. But
I like
I don't
Roll
know.
for the Galaxy.
I do like Roll for the Galaxy, but Roll for the Galaxy isn't like the dice game. I mean, it's like there's all those games that had the successful game, and then Raw, the dice game, or you remember like for a while there, like, and it still happens, like successful board games would then have so and so the card game, and then so and so the dice game. It was. And I don't know. And in some cases, like with Lost Cities, they were like, Lost Cities the card game. We'll make Lost Cities the board game. What was the original name of that? And then they called Lost Cities the board game afterwards. Anthony, you always know this stuff.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wow,
Okay,
there's so
you're
many
familiar
games,
with
the dice game. There's a bunch.
You're familiar with the card game Lost Cities, right? That Reiner made.
Right, but I don't know the board game is being
And then
known as anything else but Lost Cities, the board game.
It was called something else. Why can't I think of the name of this? It's man, it's gonna be one of those things. Somebody's gonna say it, and I'm gonna yep that. Damn it! It was And I think the other game only got released in Europe or got limited release, and they changed it to Lost Cities, the board game.
Keltis.
Thank you. Most likely, probably. What are you all giggling about? Mostly because it was one of those things where I think people were like, Lost Cities, the board game, was going to sell more copies than Keltis. So. Let's see here. I don't know, what have I played lately? I finally played Elysium.
And where do you fall on that one?
I need to play it again before I give my.
I've played it 3 times and I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love the column mechanic, that payment method, but we played it 2 nights ago. I've played it 4-player twice and 2-player once, and I definitely preferred it 2-player. If you play 4-player with Apollo, like, it's not unreasonable that you will be looking at 21 card or like close to 20 cards that you want, / people may have an excess of anywhere between 6 to 12 cards in front of them per player if they're taking the Apollo cards, because they let you take more cards for free. So it just becomes untenable to the point where you're like, you just give up on trying to figure what other people are doing, and you just kind of tunnel vision on your own stuff. And I think that's really bad. I mean, it's cool that putting in one set of cards can impact the game that much, but to me it felt like a negative impact. The first time I played it with Rhiannon played it with us, and we played it at Geekway, and it was kind of like, it was like I saw potential, but it was like, Second time I really liked it. The third time, I don't know. I don't think it went over well with anyone else.
Yeah, I don't know. People seem to be. I don't know. People seem to either be really lukewarm or they seem to really love it. And I'm worried. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know for certain. But I mean, sometimes when I see a game that has had a lot of hype behind it, like Elysium, that is getting a lot of positive reviewer response, I'm always worried that like it's like a one play response. You know, like, oh, I played it once and it was great. You know, and I mean, if I did a review for Five Kingdoms, well, yeah, possibly. But I mean, if I did a review for like Five Kingdoms, the moment after I played it the first time, I would have been just glowing and just everybody needs to own this game, you know, because I thought it was fast. But then, you know, after repeated plays, it didn't hold up. It just became. Well, I don't need to go back and to explain why I think it's just kind of an average game. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I was unimpressed, if you will.
Yeah, there's plenty of games that I felt that way about. Like, I really liked. I thought Run Fight or Die was really cool the first time I played it, and then I played it like a second time, and I was like, and then I played it a third time, and someone pointed out that we were just kind of rolling dice and had no control over what was happening at all. And I was like, yeah. And then it felt like it was taking forever and we played like the max amount of players. And then I immediately just got rid of the game after that game. But the first time I played it, I thought it was fun and kind of charming, and I thought it was a funny take on the whole zombie thing. So I think that can happen, right? It's Cult of the New.
It was charming. Oh.
There was like charm to the
University, it's welcome. What?
I thought, yeah, there was a little bit of charm to it.
Fair enough. Did anybody ever find out about what games were going to be released at Origins, if anything?
I know Dark Moon and
For certain.
I just had it up. Let me.
Yeah, Dark Moon's gonna have some. Stronghold's gonna have some Dark Moon there.
and that
Dark
other
Moon
one.
and Legrand, yeah.
Legrand, yeah. Before it goes out to the public.
Let's see. Looks like Book for Agents of Schmersh, Conflict of Heroes, Awakening the Bear, Firefight Generator.
I've been waiting for that one forever.
Conflict of Hero Eastern Front solo expansion.
I don't even know what the hell you. What'd you say? It was like Conflict of Human Bears? What?
Conflict of Heroes,
Conflict of
Awakening the
Heroes
Bear.
is the. No, Conflict of Heroes is the is a war game mechanism, and yeah, there you go. And so, so did you say both Lagrania and Dark Moon are going to be there?
Yeah, I was talking to Bonacore today. And
Both of them?
Yeah, both. Very limited quantities.
All right, Mule, give me both of them.
Let's see. Game of Crowns from AEG. Rumpelstiltskin from AEG.
Finally.
Let's see. The demo. Spoils pack.
I mean, okay. Let's put it this way. I really like Todd Rowland at AEG. I think he's a really nice guy. And like he's one of the I mean he's just really cool. I mean I remember he even treated me to a lunch at a con one time and we talked games for like 2 hours and he's an awesome dude. But man, God, AEG just can't come up with anything good anymore. I don't know what the deal is. I haven't been wowed by a game of theirs for so long.
I feel like their only goal in life was to make micro games hated. Like they're just like Shinji Kanai is just like in a room somewhere. They're like, make a game with just one cube. That's the only component you're allowed to use.
I don't know.
Our Stooge friend has Mage Wars Arena Battlegrounds Domination listed as debuting at Origin.
I haven't enjoyed Mage Wars since after I played it once, so that does nothing for me.
That game has.
I know I'm in the minority. I know.
It has the steepest learning curve of any. It's like someone hands you a trade binder of Magic cards, and they're like, "This is your deck. Go here. Have this rule book with
I know.
a list of keywords." There were like 5 pages. There was a card that had one ability to climb over walls, and it was the only guy. Come on, you can save that for an expansion. That doesn't need to be in the base game. It is a cool game, but it's like really overwhelming. Like if I gave that to my wife, she like her ear, like she'd have blood coming out of her tear ducts and shit. There's no way.
Blue Orange has 40 copies of Prohis coming to Origins.
Yeah, Blue Orange is making a big play right now to do a bunch of more hobby games and out of the family mark, like kind of like straddling the family. They're like following Bruno Cathala around and just like picking shit up that falls out of his pockets and publishing it.
Let's see, that's not new. That is demos.
This is riveting.
The new Epic Spell Wars Battle Wizards Rumble at Castle Tentakill.
Not it.
That's in stores now, though.
Yeah, I think so. It is.
Yeah.
Skyfall is a maybe. They don't know yet. It says previewed, possibly available for purchase depending on the fates. It's only going to be $25, so it's cheap. A lot
Who's
cheaper
that?
than my copy.
Who is that?
Cryptozoic has it, which it's not licensed as garbage, so I'm surprised. Oh, that was nice. Let's see. Sorry, I got to scroll down again. They have the painted and unpainted version of Rise of the Oculites from Eagle Griffin. I think that's already out.
A very, very good game. Game's a heck of a lot of fun. Well, I thought that Spyfall was gonna be there. That was like a guarantee or something like that.
It says it might.
They're demoing it and it might be available, so that's where they're kind of at. I guess the Fates played some crap with them. Sorry, demos. It's not sorted by what's available and what's not. It's just company by company.
Yeah, you have to read.
Who put this thing together?
Mr. Eric Martin.
No, okay, well it's passed, but still, I mean, yeah, boo.
I'll tell you when I say that. Oh, debuting at Origins, Bring Out Your Dead from Upper Deck.
Not it.
That game is fun.
I demoed it at BGG-Con and didn't love it, so maybe it's just the demo. I might give it another try.
I thought that was a Kickstarter.
It failed on Kickstarter, and then Upper Deck signed it.
Okay.
And that's what caught me by surprise when I saw somebody pick it up.
What a great name for a company.
What? What was the name?
Upper Deck. It's like when someone takes a crap in the toilet tank.
Oh yeah.
Habba's got a bunch of games.
There's some crap publisher, some Scoundrel Society game here. Looks like they're just demoing it though.
You can get Shooting Blanks from Inappropriate Gaming.
Nothing out of you, really? That makes me feel bad.
Do you guys remember last year at Gen Con, Upper Deck announced they were re-releasing Versus, and they had it released as Versus Living Card Game System?
Yeah, that sign came down the next day.
There was like one point where there was just like a piece of cardboard over LCG on the freaking banner.
Yeah, how do you not realize that?
Well, that's so dumb that they patented the whole living card game name. That's just it's almost as dumb as like the fact that you can't tap cards because that's magic. Oh, I exhaust the card instead.
That expired.
Yeah.
Chaz just did a whole video on that exact topic, living cardboard and the tapping thing. Here's a nice video from our friend Chaz Marlar. Knee Jerk is debuting at...
No, your friend Chaz Marlar.
He's our friend. He's everyone's friend. He's a good guy. Cosmos has Doodles. And I don't know what that is. From Klaus Teuber.
Doesn't look like it's going to be that exciting of a show.
There's nothing on here from Yellow or Asmodee, so I don't have any information on that. There's a game called Meteor, coming from Mayday Games, supposed to be debuting.
Not it.
Extra Extra from Mayfair is supposed to be debuting.
Already made an expansion called that.
I thought I read on Twitter that Minion might have something coming out there because they just shipped out to backers. But I don't remember what that game was. I apologize.
You just used a bunch of help today, aren't you?
Hey, it's better than what you've got, right?
Come on, Mule, let's go here.
All right, Costume Party from Naturalist Games debuting at Origins. Game Election from Naturalist Games debuting at Origins. Oh, previews. Beep Beep Attack debuting at Origins from Ozum Games.
Oh, Beep Beep Attack, finally.
I have that.
I already made that joke, Lance. Sorry.
Demo, art. Some things don't say whether they're being demoed or.
Is it never more from Smirk and Dagger? One of the releases.
I haven't seen it on here. But
I saw an ad for that today in the new, was it GTM or whatever? Like, I don't think it's going to be out.
Rio Grande has 20th Century Limited.
Is Smirk and Dagger even going? I don't think they're there.
I can tell you that faster than the other stuff I'm doing. No, they're not listed as an exhibitor.
Okay, then maybe not.
Mogul from Rio Grande, debuting at Origins.
I'm not buying anything from that company for a while.
Missing Link debuting from Sherwood Games.
What do you got against Jay? Rio Grande.
There's some weird going on with their releases, man. I don't know. Like, I can feel it. Like, it's permeating the games. It seems like they don't give a crap anymore.
Well, as long as I've been doing what I do, they have said, or Jay has been threatening to retire for as long as I've been part of this, and that's like 8 years. He's been talking about, maybe this is the final year I'm done. Maybe I'm going to be done soon. Just kind of like, and I don't know. It's weird that, like, it seems to be like when he finally does decide to retire and stop doing, and stop being a publisher. I mean, it'll be like the longest wait for the inevitable that I've known of. So there you go.
Z-Man has several things listed. Z-Man has Abracawat, Cacao.
Just got released today.
Yeah, those are out in stores today.
Yeah, Sylveon, Voyages of Marco Polo.
That Abracawat looks like it'd be a fun game to play with my daughter.
It's not on this list, but I saw in the book Perfume from Queen is supposed to be at the Asmodee booth for sale. I saw an ad for that in the Origins site book.
I'll say this about the Bring Out Your Dead game from Upper Deck. The guy, the designer, pretty cool guy. But he that game, Bring Out Your Dead game, it's a lot of fun. I actually kind of goofed around with a prototype of it for a little bit, and you know, like the best part about it is like when you can't, because you're trying to get you're trying to jockey your coffins to get into the back of the, because where your people end up getting buried gives you points, so you get buried in the nice places, and so you're trying to like fight over the spots, and the ones that don't have it end up being like thrown into the river. And like sink to the bottom. It's kind of neat. It's just it's kind of a lot of gallows humor in the game, and
it's
and
fairly
quick,
cutthroat. It's fairly cutthroat.
Yeah.
I noticed that in mine. Here's a list from. I've already been through some of these, but there's some other stuff on this list from Origins themselves. 8th Summit has Agents of Smurfs Showdown, AG again, Game of Crowns, and 3 different saddlebags for Doomtown. Alcid and Dunn LLC, Binfa the Tower of War. Retail release of Tiny Epic Defenders. Heavy Steam from Greenbrier. Sergeant's D-Day board game from Lost Battalion. Battle Merchants New Kingdoms from Minion. Chaosmos As the Universe Ends, The Hunt Begins from Mirrorbox. Stockpile Deluxe Hanabi from R&R Games. We already mentioned Stronghold. Thames and Cosmos has Lost Cities, Ubongo, Dimension, and Kahuna. U.S. Game System has Renaissance Wars. Plug has Switching Tracks. Battlebin has War Stories the Game. Jolly Roger Game has Cthulhu's Vaults. More R&R's Caffeine Rush and Panda Head. Sherwood Games Exploit with an exclamation point. Table Forged LLC, Iron and Ale King of the Keg, and U.S. Game System Inc.'s Backstab, a macabre board game. Then there's a handful of kids' games, and for our friends, Dogmite has the Adventure Chest and Dice Chest listed as being for sale at Origins. And that will potentially Tesla versus Edison
round it out. That's a great game, but
yeah. So I assume they may have that if they get that delivered. So that about covers it, sir.
You said Haba was going to be there?
Yeah, Haba's going to be
nice.
there this year. Last year was their first Gen Con. Now they're doing Origins.
Cool.
I recommend because Haba is awesome for kids games.
it is. Though some of them being kind of I mean, I wish Haba did more kids games for like weird, not super young, but not like 12. Like that weird like 7, 8-year-old. It seems like the that doesn't seem to be the case in a lot of situations. But that's just once again.
I think Animals Pond
My
Animals
opinion.
timeless. Rhino Heroes timeless, all ages. I like Der Schwarze Pirate.
Der Schwarze Pirate is my daughter's second favorite game. Schwarze Pirate is played by screaming adults at the table and oaths of vengeance. Lots of fun with Der Schwarze Pirate. I went out and actually got extra little yellow discs so we could just play it longer because like the game was over too quick for us. We wanted to have just tons of treasure out on the islands. So,
Hey,
does everybody know
Keith,
Der Schwarze Pirate?
The Black Pirate. You get little snot suckers
Yes.
for your kids, right?
Keith, asking a question or trying to.
What?
What'd you say?
that game by Klaus Teuber, Dodels, that's Barbarossa.
Okay.
Well, that's the new name for it, but that's Barbarossa. I was trying to remember which game it was, and I'm like, I know it came out already, and they just renamed it, and that's what it is. It's Barbarossa, the Pictionary game with clay, where you cannot make your sculpture too good.
Then that's just a game that always degenerates into people making phalluses.
Well, yeah.
Nice. It took me a second. I was like, what? Oh, gotcha. You're such a child.
I am.
Well, man, everybody says Origin's all like super awesome, but it's just kind of like I don't know. This doesn't seem like there's all that much awesome stuff going to be there.
I think
That's
there's more
the
stuff
opposite,
releasing
wow.
this year than last year. last year there wasn't squat new in Origins. I mean, not a lot at all.
Yeah.
But Origins is about playing games, not
It
about
is.
the games that are coming out.
I think the hottest release at Origins last year was probably Istanbul. That's the first time you could get the U.S. copies of Istanbul.
Star
yes,
I was looking at that while I was
they had
there.
a ton of Star Realms. They had a gigantic booth. It was insane how big it was. Z-Man does a handful of releases every year, and Asmodee had a handful of games, like Sultania came out there. The Desperados of Dice Town game was there, which I hated that game, so I gave it away. But there's not a lot of new releases. I think there's more this year than last. But it's really just about there's tons of space to play. It's much easier to sit down and get a game in at Origins than it is at Gen Con. It's just not stupid, crowded, and
Gen Con's not a players' convention. It's like a consumer convention, big time.
well, it is. I mean, Gen Con's got so many events for players and stuff like that, and role playing and things like that. But yeah, I mean, the focus of Gen Con, the reason it's so crowded, is to buy crap. I believe
The main gaming hall for Gen Con is like 20 minutes after Hurricane Katrina settled down. It's like everyone's just looking around, confused, trying to find where they're supposed to go and if they know someone. I saw Will Wheaton walking around in one of those Utilikilts. Man, I can't. Every year the Utilikilts guys, come on, this shit has got to stop. And he's like 3'1". He's like so small.
So what you're saying you could take him, is what you're trying to say.
I would like to take him into my arms.
Aww.
He's a funny guy.
Wow, it looks like
he's wearing a kilt.
Burning Suns, a game that I did a Kickstarter video of, like, it feels like 3 years ago now, is finally very slowly crawling its way towards being published finally. Interesting. Very interesting.
Why is this episode so rife with awkward silences?
Everybody's reading stuff on their computer screen instead of talking. Yeah, I'm very
extremely rude tonight. What's going on with you? This is like aggression from you. What's happening now? You're smoking real cigarettes again, so you're like on tilt.
Sorry.
I'm being pouty because he didn't introduce me and he's giving me guff.
Oh, jeez. Everybody, that's Travis Chance, the Grand Hayafuba of Action Phase Games. Be sure to check out his brand new Kickstarter coming soon for Scoundrels. Does that make you feel better?
Well, I mean, I don't know that we paid you to do that, but I mean, we did pay you, but not to do that.
You
paid me for my friendship. By the way, your mom wasn't paying either.
I just got done having my daughter alone for 4 days. So listen to this. My wife was flying home. She was at a work function in Texas, and they had to do an emergency landing in her plane because fruit flies had gotten into the hold of the plane and were blowing through the ventilation into the main cabin. So they had to do an emergency landing because she said it was like snakes on a plane, but the fruit fly version of it. And then they landed in Dallas, and then there was a flash flood in Dallas or some shit. And so then they were grounded there for like 5 hours. So she didn't end up getting home for she was supposed to be home at like 10 or 11. She got home at like 4 in the morning. I'd had my daughter for 4 days alone for the first time ever, which, I watch my daughter in the day. We have a sitter that comes for like 4 hours a day. But my daughter's like she's going to be 1 next Tuesday. She's been walking for like 3 months. She's already starting to talk, but she keeps saying this weird word that she repeats. It sounds like she's speaking like Dothraki or something. She goes Daha, she just keeps repeating Daha over and over and over and over again. I'm starting to wonder what that means to her. But it was an intent. 2 hours after my wife left, my daughter had like a severe allergic reaction to something. I have no friggin' idea what. he managed to do like a skydiving routine off the couch whenever I turned to grab the remote controller. That was awesome, and it was a pretty eventful time, man. Not as bad as I thought it would be.
Did your daughter tell mommy about the other mommies that you had over while mommy was gone?
I wish there were other mommies that would come over. No. My wife left on a Saturday, so like whenever I went to Geekway, my wife, we had the babysitter here for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I was gone, so my wife had our daughter alone for one day essentially. So I had her for the whole weekend, and then Monday was Memorial Day, and we had to go film Kickstarter videos. So I got out of the house on Monday. Don't get me wrong, I love spending time with my kid. It's awesome, but not having
it sure sounds like it. Sounds like
having no break, and like I
can't
can't go anywhere or do anything. Like I tried to go over to the neighbor's house and play games with him and his like a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old, and all we did for 2 hours was baby-proof his basement. That was it. We just spent the entire time baby-proofing his basement while my daughter occasionally injured herself. And then I was like, all right, I'm just going to go home. I think we played like Lanterns or something for 20 minutes, and that was it. It sucked. But not the game. I thought the game was actually okay, but the experience sucked. What do you think?
I don't know what to think about that game either. I played Lantern once, and I don't know what to think about that either.
Lance, just because you played Lanterns once doesn't refer to it as the singular. You didn't play Lantern once. You played Lanterns once.
Oh God! Why do I?
You know what game I played that I liked? Sylveon. That Shaddy Torty game or whatever. The guy
just
who
looks.
did
I don't know what to make of that one.
I thought it was cool.
I've
almost
bought it like 3 times.
I think it's cool, but once you figure out how to beat it, I think it's easy to beat. Oh snap! Look who's here!
Oh, now it can actually get good.
What's going on? You got rid of them pigtails, I see.
I did. I took them out. Yeah, because I'm 60.
After my comment? Was it after my comment that you took them out?
No, I decided to clean myself, so I took them out so I could wash my hair properly.
Why are you using nursing home terminology?
Do you guys need a room, or what's going on?
I'm sorry. Did I interrupt something? It didn't sound like it because it sounded like a bunch of crickets when I showed up.
I think we just found out who the other mommies coming up were.
I'm just surprised your computer works, just because you've been on so much lately. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It works.
That's me making fun of you.
Yeah.
Rhiannon from Spooning Meeples.
Funny. Not funny.
You can't see it right now, Rhiannon, but Lance's butt is hurting extremely bad.
Oh boy, what did he do? What did you do to him?
He's sad that you're not on. He wouldn't introduce me tonight. He keeps mocking me. He's being extremely abusive.
So it's like every other conversation you guys have? No,
normally we fight to talk. But I've been being kind of quiet and just letting him enjoy the awkward silence that are normally populated by the sound of my voice. Barry is smoking cigarettes again. Keith is spilling root beer all over his groin. It's a mess tonight. I don't even know where Anthony is.
He left.
I think he's had another kid. He had another kid 20 minutes ago, so he had to go. We were talking about games we've played recently, and I was telling them Lance said he played Elysium and he didn't know what to think of it, and I was explaining our experience of Elysium was not that compelling.
It was not. It was very underwhelming, for sure.
I played it again, and I didn't like. I played it 2 more times.
The thing is that I got the same feeling Deuce or Deus or whatever as well. I was very underwhelmed with Deuce as well.
Hold on, now it's official. Now I'm back. I heard that though. I heard Deus and Elysium have the same feeling.
I don't know. I'm not gonna pass judgment or do like paint a broad stroke here, but man, it has been a while since I have gotten that feeling of like lots of excitement when I'm playing a Euro for the first time. You know, where like, oh wow, look at this! This is really cool. I haven't had that in quite a while. So I've gotten that from a few of the. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, like I've played games with my daughter, and it's just been kind of fun watching her mind work and figure out, you know, and like Cauldron was a game that like is kind of a really lighter Euro, and watching her figure out how to put the spell components together and cast the different make the different potions, that was kind of neat. But I mean, as far as like, you know, I don't know, an adult playing a game or something like that, I haven't been stunned. So I did play a lot. I did play a very couple of really fun games of Transylvania Curses and Raiders with my buddies this past weekend. That's just a fun dice checker, and where you get to run around and try to solve the mystery and kill the monster, and then if you draw the wrong cards, you get turned into them, and then you get to chase your friends down and eat them. It's pretty fun.
It sounds like Panic Station with dice.
Well, but unlike Panic Station, it has a distinction. It doesn't suck.
Wait, are you sure? How many times have they written the rules? Is there at least 19 rule sets for this game?
No, Transylvania Traders. What it was? Well, first of all, I always thought the name of the company is like Wybai, like Wibai, and I didn't know. And then I finally, like, when they sent me an email, said, "Wouldn't it be awesome if" was their actual name of their company. So, which I thought was kind of neat. But no, you just you kind of move around a spooky little city that you create with.
Only took you 5 minutes, Rick.
Rock fighter.
Oh, worth it. He's out. He's done. Now he's gonna be a poor sport. Oh, poor Lance.
He'll be back. Did any of you play a Kanban?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I was watching a couple guys at Beer Monitors play it last night, and I'm wondering about it. You know, it took them a long time to explain the rules. You know,
it looks like it was a game made to kill people with OCD. Like, you just put it on a table and their ears start bleeding when they look at it. I mean, I didn't. Did you guys like CO2 at all?
I haven't played it.
I thought it was. Yeah. So I don't know, but it looks interesting. I like the idea of it.
Kanban.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes forever to set up, so it is a bit fiddly. But I love playing it. I think it's a really great game.
Yeah, I was going back and forth between that and like I said, 5 tribes, and I didn't want my brain to hurt that much, so I went with 5 tribes.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to hurt with 5 tribes.
I looked at the board on Kanban, and I was, you know.
It's not that it looks overwhelming, but it's really basically worker placement, and there's like 5 things you can do. It's really not.
If they took the board and made it 5 separate boards for each department, it wouldn't be as confusing looking.
Okay.
Yeah. Or even if they just like.
That's a great solution, Anthony.
If they did it as columns, if they just did it like, you know, instead of trying to make it look, you know, like this one, like boom here. I don't know. It's fine. It's a good game. You just got to get past the look of it, the fiddliness.
Yeah, I'll try it next time it comes out.
It's a long teach.
Yeah, it's like I said, we were almost done the game of 5 tribes by the time Chris got done explaining the rules. You know.
It's definitely one that the rule book is not great, so you just tell people to read the rules and then come play. It's probably not awesome. It's better if you know somebody, have someone who can play it, so that they can teach it.
That's such a bad. To me, that's such like a failure on the litmus test, though. Where it's like, if you can find a person who has endured the crucible of confusion that is learning this game, and they can then don the mantle of enlightenment upon you of how to play the game, you'll love the game.
I'm not saying it's optimal, but Vital did do a really awesome geek list, which probably should have been the rules. Like, that breaks it down for you. That's very easy to understand. So that is there.
There's a lot of rule books that have that issue, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's not unique to that.
Most rule books have that issue.
Have you played Arboretum?
Yes.
I like that game a lot.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
We've been playing, and I still can't really. It's so weird because it's so simple, but I can't. I'm still learning and wrapping my head around it. I've played it quite a few times now. Have any of you guys played it?
Yeah.
Other than Rhiannon, Blanket Lord?
No, I haven't.
Anthony, what's going on? You're not playing? You don't like trees? Anti-tree?
I will say
I haven't gotten a copy, and no one I know has one, so.
the artwork, I think, is pretty, but some of the colors, I think, are close. Like, it could be different.
You know, there's people who are red-green colorblind. I'm actually willow oak colorblind, so that it destroys me every time I play
Magnolia Jacaranda? What's that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't even know how to pronounce that. Royal Wanaqua Pocahontas or whatever the hell it is. How is that? What is that word called? How do you pronounce that one?
Is that the purple tree? I just call them by their colors.
No, it's like the pink one. It's like Wanaqua.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, but the game is good, and the balance of needing to have it in your hands.
You don't want to play any card. It's the weirdest thing. It's like you want to play 2s, 3s, 4s, maybe 5s. 7 is really the most powerful card when you think about it, because the 1 trumping the 8 is a problem, right? So 7s are really good. So you don't really want to play 7s. And the fact that you get 2 points for playing an 8 just further incentivizes you to play the 8, which further reinforces the 7 being powerful. It's good. It's very, very good. I like it.
I think it's crazy that it's one of those games, that was like under the radar, and then everybody wanted it. So guess what? It's $40 on Amazon now. And like just the week before, I got it for like 15 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's weird how that works.
I randomly picked a copy up on Saturday on a whim, and I was like, you know what? I'm a sucker for these type of games, so I bought it, and I'm glad I bought it. It was good. I liked it. I bought a game that I didn't realize I already owned, which that was a first. That's how what's that?
What game is that?
Well, I was going over to my friend's house, and he's got like, a 13-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old daughter. So I bought Noir, the black box, and I didn't realize I already had the regular edition of Noir, and I just didn't realize it. I think that game is broken. I think that there's a problem with that game. We played it like 4 times, and the same thing happened 3 times.
Maybe you're broken.
Ooh.
Anthony, you're the guy I know the very least on this show, so I don't appreciate that comment.
Burn.
Ooh.
No, he burned me. I'm hurt right now. Now it's like is Lance in the room with you, Anthony?
Well, then up top, Anthony is.
Lance texted me and told me to give you a hard time till he got back.
Rhiannon, I think that picture I sent you on Facebook this morning was the least flattering picture I've ever taken of myself in my entire life.
No, the other one, the second one I got was definitely. It's a contender.
Horrifying.
Yes.
Like I don't think I've ever taken a picture from the neck up and it made me want to have a gym membership before. Like that was a first. I was like, my head and neck need to work out. This isn't good. Like this isn't a good sign.
It was a vision to behold, to be sure.
You know what I played today that I haven't played in like 2 years and I love is that Trois. The Z-Man.
Oh, Trois is a great game.
God, that game is good. It is so brutal though.
Mm-hmm.
If you get on the downward slope of that game, it's just like, ugh.
Do you play with the ladies?
I don't have that expand. It's on my trade list, it's on my want list, and every time someone wants to trade it, it's always they have the base game and it's mixed into their base game.
Mm.
If you try to
it's
buy
worth it.
If you try to buy it secondhand, it's.
Yeah.
I saw it for retail like a year ago in Chicago at Chicagoland Dice Dojo, and they have just like all kinds of stuff on the shelf that's out of print, and they don't care. And it's like I don't know how people are living in Chicago. And that have you ever been to that shop in Chicago? That's probably the best game store I've ever been in. It is so awesome. And yeah, I'm like, you've got like that game on the shelf is like a $300 out of print game. Oh, I don't care. It's like it's fine. Somebody wants to buy an eBay, let them do it. I don't care. So I bought like the Stone Age. What's the stupid Stone Age expansion? Something is the new style.
Yeah, style is the goal.
Style is the goal. Boom. Keith, you're the best. That thing was going for way over MSRP. They had like Ora et Labora on the shelf still. Which now they're reprinting, which is awesome. I've held on to a copy of that. It's been like my coveted. I got it in a trade, and I've been wanting to trade it for a year, and every time I get greedier and greedier, and I keep turning down offers. And then I talked to Zev at Geekway, and I was like, "Are you ever reprinting this?" And he said, "I don't think so." And then the freaking 2 days after I get back from Geekway, it's on Eric Eric Martin announces that we're reprinting it. I wonder if me asking him that, he was like, "Oh shit, we probably should have."
Yeah, let's do it. Somebody call up Eric Martin.
Boom. I bet Anthony and Lance are texting him, right, Anthony?
Yeah, right now.
Worse.
All right.
Has anyone played Spectre Ops? I know that it's like Ameritrashy nonsense.
I own it and haven't played it.
I just played it again last night.
I
want to get it for some. I don't know why, but I want to get it.
Do you like Letters from Whitechapel?
Yeah, I like hidden movement games.
What is there anything in Letters from Whitechapel you don't like?
Is there any what?
Any part of Letters from Whitechapel you don't like?
I don't know. I mean, it's a little on the dry end, I guess.
Yeah.
But I like the mechanics or mechanisms. I'll say mechanism before Lance corrects me.
No, mechanics is fine.
Yeah.
I like the mechanics as well.
I think you'll like it. I love Letters from Whitechapel, and I think I like Spectre Ops more.
Yeah, I'm the same boat.
If you don't like Letters of Whitechapel, will you like Spectre Ops?
Yeah,
it depends what you don't like about Letters from Whitechapel.
With the Spectre Ops, it's a lot more. You're right on top of the agent from the get-go. You know where he is from the start. Yeah.
I think what I like better about it is you don't have the reset point like you do in Whitechapel.
But Keith, I thought you said earlier that there's not enough games about killing prostitutes.
I don't think I said that, but you're right, there's not.
It's a severely underrepresented theme.
If I knew a game designer, I'd have him design a game about killing prostitutes because, that'd be fantastic.
No, they're called the Wretched. The Wretched.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, then that's totally fine. I won't read between the lines of that at all. No.
Yeah. There's nothing like slut shaming in a board game. Like it's a great thing to have. I'm sorry, I'm being a little foul mouthed tonight.
Yeah. Well, it is a historical event, so you're not.
It is.
That old chestnut.
That old chestnut. Yeah, I like Letters. I got Letters randomly. My wife bought it for me because I had been saying I wanted it, and she found like this is like when it had already gone out of stock from Nexus. She found a copy for like $50 in Canada with like free shipping somehow, some way. It was like on eBay for going over for over $100 at the time. So I have that edition, and I played the crap out of that game. I think it's fun. I don't think I've ever played it with those tiles though.
The actual letters.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever actually played with the tiles because every time I played it with a new group. So.
All right. So what's different about it is in Letters you have the special movement that Jack gets to make, and that's pretty much the only special thing in the whole game. In Spectre Ops, both the hunter and the hunted have special abilities.
Okay.
So and what happens is rather than it resetting after each day, there are objectives on the board that the agent has to get to and get off the board in the allotted time. But you get to find out, you know where they start. They start at one of the three entrances, and you have to say where they're going. But then after that, you can kind of say, okay, well, they were just there because they just claimed that they just finished that objective. So now I again know where they're starting again. And then there's different abilities you have. There's a flying car thing you can move around in, but if you activate the car, it'll tell you which direction from where the car is that the agent is in right now. But then each of the hunters has their own special ability. There's one that has like pre and post cognition.
Right.
So with the precognition, the person who is the agent has to tell you on their next turn they're going to finish an objective. So you have an idea how close they are to where you think they are. The post is they have to tell you where they were 2 turns ago. So again, you have an idea where they are. There's one that's like a big giant wolf that he can actually, if he's within a few spaces of you, he can smell you. So it's good. I like it a lot. The board, the numbers on the board are printed in like this
UV.
reflective ink.
Yeah, the UV spot UV.
Glossy like the Dead of Winter cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spot. It's called spot UV printing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's nice.
so
it's all the board.
it's cool. It's very cool.
That car looks so silly though. Like there's like minis in the car is like this shitty rectangle that they're sitting in.
Yeah, and it has limited movement. There's only really like 3 places it can actually move on the board that are big enough for it to move on. Like the main thing or street. It's like the main aisle in this warehouse thing that you're going to. But I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get it. I don't know my main group that I play with. I don't think it's a game they'll like, but sometimes I just like to buy games because I want them and hope that I can eventually play them with.
The one thing I didn't like about the game was the board. It's at beer mongers it's low light, so if you look at them numbers a certain way, they disappear.
Is there only the one board? Is there like only one scenario essentially?
Yeah, just one board.
It's one board, but there's different places where the objectives can be.
Right.
And also based on the number of objectives that are out there. The regular game is like 4. I think the agent has to
Yeah, you got
finish 3 of them.
Yeah.
But you kind of know where they are. Then there's different ways to play it where the agents don't actually know where the objectives are when they start. So there's variability to it, the way you want to play it. But yeah, I think you'll actually like it.
Yeah, that all depends on the player count. Like with 3 or fewer players, the objectives are on the board. With 4 or more players, they're not until they're achieved. And then with 5 players, there's a trader with the agent who can help them out.
So what about this trader mechanic though? It sounds terrible.
I haven't played it. I've talked to a few people who have played with it. They think it's pretty decent. Joel Eddy liked it. A couple guys at Beer Mockers played with it last time, and they enjoyed it. But I haven't played it with it myself.
Rhiannon, does this sound like a game you would enjoy?
Spectrops, I totally want to play. Emerson had it with them at TotalCon. I just didn't get a chance to sit down with him and play it.
So you like Whitechapel?
I have not played Whitechapel, but I do like hidden movement games. So.
Well, there's only like 2 other ones. So.
Well, I like those other 2 then.
What is it like? Scotland Yard and Fury of Dracula.
Fury of Dracula. Yeah. You have to be careful with that one. Well, any hidden movement game, because if someone's not paying attention, then the whole thing gets screwed, and you're like, ah.
And then there's the other 2.
There's Escape from the whatever in outer space. Escape from the aliens in outer space.
Oh, Aliens from I forgot about that one. That one's I love that. The art in that game is awesome.
Is that the awful green things from outer space? That one?
No.
Where did Lance go?
I don't know.
He's sulking in the corner.
But Nuns on the Run and Ninja are the other 2. Yeah. And they're both by the same designer.
Yeah. Ninja Legend of the Scorpion Clan.
Yes.
Yeah, no way.
Was that the one from some weird war that nobody's ever heard of? There's one where it's some weird war over in Europe that nobody really ever heard of, where the person hiding is supposed to be like a guy behind enemy lines, and the other players are playing the soldiers trying to find him. I forget the name of that one though.
It's called Garibaldi.
Garibaldi, there it is.
Hey.
Is Lance now? He's creeping us right now.
Yeah, he's sulking.
He's just a logo.
You know
He's muted again.
how stoked would all of you be if when he came back his beard was in cornrows?
Right.
I finally played Alchemist last week. I hadn't played that before.
I would suck at that game.
How'd you like?
I liked it. I don't know if I loved it. I didn't
You're
go
also
out and buy
forgetting
it.
Ninja Legend of the Scorpion Clan from AEG Hidden Movie.
We already said
We
that,
already
Lance.
said that.
No, you
Why
didn't.
can't we do this? Yes, we did. I literally just said Legend of the Scorpion Clan like 10 minutes ago.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
we
I did. Why don't you show your coward face, rock biter?
Oh, God.
So, how'd you like Alchemist, Keith? I heard mixed reviews about that.
I like the game. It's interesting. It's a worker placement game, but you don't really block any actions so much as you get kind of dibs on it by going there. If you have earlier in the turn order, the worker placement's interesting because the first player token gets to pick their spot where they put their pick what rewards basically they want at the start of each round. And then once you do that, that sets the order of worker placement. So whoever's highest on the track and basically took the worst crap, or whoever got the best crap places first, but they resolve last. So the guy that's basically going to be the first one to go out and gather from the working spaces gets to see where everybody else is going and knows what they can basically go and steal from everybody. So it's kind of interesting in that way. I like the game. It was not that bad. It wasn't hard to figure out. The app is, in my opinion, a necessity to play the game. I mean, yeah, you could have a observer sit there and do it, but it would take so much longer to play the game, and it's already not really a short game. With learning, it took us about 2.5 hours to get through it, but once you get the teaching done, it's actually very intuitive to figure out how to play. So I don't think it's difficult to learn at all. So
This time we have to have a person teach us and an app in order to play.
Yeah.
the app doesn't even teach you, and the app's really responsive. I mean, you hold it up and look at the two cards, it's boom like that. It's got it identified, and that's telling you
Where are games going if this is it's like no, it's if you know a post grad, like it's going to be a real smooth session, but otherwise like. If someone doesn't have at least a master's degree within 20 miles of you, you're not going to be able to play the game and enjoy it at all. I don't know. I watched my buddy Nick play it, and I've never heard people in my life say, "Oh man, I screwed up so many times." Like it was just like 2 hours of people lamenting their mistakes throughout the game, and this one guy was convinced he was right, and like every time he was wrong, like horribly wrong, horribly.
I was never wrong on anything. I spent the first 2 turns doing research, figuring out what my ingredients would make, and then I suddenly like, oh crap, I know something. Start crossing it off. I'd had one thing identified, then realized I had a second one identified because it could only be that one or the other thing I'd already identified. And so that got me going right out of the gate. So it just depends on how you get out there and do it, I guess. But I thought the deduction part of the game was actually very simple, but that might just be something that works better for me than others.
It looks cool. I mean, I think it looks really interesting and neat. I'm not good at logic puzzles, so like I'm very bad at spatial games. The first time I played Castles of whatever, Mad Castles of King Ludwig, all I did was build everything in a straight line, like, and I won. But I won by like a landslide, but it was literally just a line. There was no overlapping, connecting, nothing. It was just a dungeon. It was like a 200-mile long dungeon with a bedroom in it.
No, I liked it, but I did not go out and buy it. And so if I really liked it, I would have bought it that night or the next morning. So.
What do you guys think of that game, the Castles of Mad King, the game that should cost $40, but for some reason costs $60?
I like
It cost
it.
$60.
Yeah.
I can tell you for a fact that from what I know about manufacturing games, that game should not cost $60. It doesn't even have an insert. It's just 8 punch boards and like 5
It,
wooden
it,
posts.
it literally doesn't even have the garbage insert. You throw it away. It's just like, here's that empty box. There's
The
not even
clip
a
art.
shipping
Oh, the clip art. The ZZZ. Are you kidding me? Come on with that. You look at the cover and it's beautiful. Like, at least Suburbia is like honest about everything's Band-Aid colored or whatever. Like, but Castles is trickery.
I liked Castles so much that I really didn't care about playing Suburbia anymore, even though it's a different game. It's just if I was to pick between the two, I'd rather play Castles.
Really, I'm kind of the reverse. Although my wife liked Castles better than Suburbia.
Of course, they put out that app version of Suburbia, which kind of killed wanting to play the board game for me because I don't have to keep track of all the BS anymore.
I like Suburbia over Castles. I think that whole goal thing is really awkward.
Well, they introduced that in the expansion for Suburbia, didn't they?
Well, but you have don't you have hidden goals in Castles?
Yeah, just like Suburbia has. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, it must be doing well. They're making an expansion for it.
Yeah,
Yo, I mean, it's like one of those games that came out. It's like in the top 100 or whatever, just like out of friggin' nowhere.
I
There's not
demoed.
even any zombies in it.
I
Because
demoed
it's accessible.
Subdivision.
People play it a lot.
Yeah.
It was Origins last year that I demoed Subdivision and turned around and demoed Castles, and that's why I decided I didn't want Subdivision after that.
Well, Subdivision is
Yeah.
not good. I don't think
Subdivision is fine as a solo game because that's what it feels like you're playing, even if you have 3 other players at the table.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
not the most exciting name or topic for a game.
No.
That's one thing I'll give Subdivision, or not Subdivision, sorry, Suburbia big props is you really have to pay attention to what the other guys are doing. And so that's a game that would feel like a solo game if it wasn't for the fact that what they build matters to you. So I think that's pretty cool.
Have any of you know what I played at Geekway? Have any of you guys played Super Motherload?
I have not. I've heard good things.
I played one game of it. Yeah.
It's like Dig Dug, the deck builder.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, I played it with Isaac Childress, the guy. Me and Nick played it with Isaac, the guy, the Forge War guy, and he was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "It was really cool." And I was like, "But I don't think I'd ever really need to play it again." And he's like, "What? Well, I don't understand. Like, if you like it, why wouldn't you want to play it again?" I'm like, "But I feel like I got all that I could get out of playing it that first time. I didn't see like there was like a ton more to explore." I mean, Barry, as someone who played it, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just tile placement to get resources and unlocking cards. Like, that's it.
I think, like me, I group games in, one where I want to exercise my brain, and one where I just want to have fun. Usually, dice chuckers are in that category, and I put that one in that. It's just a non-thinking, laid-back game.
I love the art on the crew, like that weird like Chihuahua with the broken freaking helmet. That thing is so awesome looking. And there's like the weird Gestapo parrot, like it's on the same color, like player color as that. Oh.
So, you went to Geekway, yeah? How'd you like it?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I thought it was amazing. If I had to pick, that would be the one I pick.
It felt like a big con, but without all of the headaches.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree.
It felt like it was like if you could distill all the awesome parts of BGG without having to be in a frickin' airport hotel. It felt like that.
It seems ridiculous, but I was just telling the people over at Nerd Nighters, I was like, the windows in all the rooms was a real selling point for me. Like the big play area, how it had the windows, and the play to win area, how it had the windows. Like all the rooms had windows, and that's really stupid. But in a place like BGG, where it's like, here's your ballroom, enjoy the yellow lights. Like, I don't know. And it just felt way more laid back.
Was it
That
crowded?
like little outdoor pavilion that was connected to it was so nice.
Yep.
What was the attendance?
Like 1,500, I think.
Yeah, 14, I
So
think.
smaller, so that made
Yeah,
it a
it's
little
smaller,
nicer.
sure, but still, I mean, I obviously wasn't there as a like vendor thing, but it's definitely more indie type stuff. I mean, I think the biggest selling point there is that miniature markets there with their Denton Bing.
I'm sure they have a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's all shipped back from Lance.
And me.
Come on, Lance, come back. We miss you.
I know.
You're right.
But no, I definitely think it, and like its location is good right now. They might change it, but like right now it's really good because all that
It's
stuff's
a nice
right there.
20-hour drive away from you, Rhiannon. You know, not
Yeah,
that.
no big deal. 20 hours, many hours, but no, like the restaurant bar stuff right outside. Like I mean, at BGG you're there, or you're getting a cab, and that gets expensive. Like
BGG is, like I've done BGG twice, and the first time I went and I just kind of hung out in the Mercury booth because that's when Infamy came out. So I wasn't really like tied to having to do that, but I kind of hung out in the booth mostly. And then the second time we had a booth, and the first time we stayed in like a Super 8 that was like 5 miles away from the airport. But have any of you driven in Dallas where like your GPS doesn't know if you're on a frontage road or the interstate, and it just keeps getting confused over and over again, like where the hell you are? But just that 5-mile drive is such a pain in the butt to do that it made the con like miserable. So then we stayed in the hotel, which was awesome, but it's like your money's on fire. So like, hello, welcome to the Hotel Starbucks. That would be $900 for this shot of brown swill.
well, okay.
So, and then that buffet, that horrible buffet in the hotel. It's like the grossest buffet.
They had like some pulled pork quesadilla thing that was pretty delicious.
It's like all these troughs of soup, and they have that weird skin film on the top because nobody's brave enough to eat them. But I like BG. I mean, I like BGG Con, but I would definitely rank Geekway as one of my favorite cons I've ever been to, for sure. The people were just so nice. Like all the people that ran it put a lot of work into making it awesome for everyone, and
they're a good group.
Yeah.
So everybody was nice but you two.
Pretty
What are you
much.
talking about? We were the life of the party. I was in a booth most of the time. There were no vendors there. It was like us and a bunch of little $15 card game kind of projects, and then miniature market. That was pretty much it. And then like people doing weird stuff, selling like handmade dice pouches. And there was no vendor hall. They just put us in this sort of like breeze through, which kind of sucked because people could have access 24 hours to our stuff. So I hope they change that next year.
I believe it's going to be, but I don't know.
I would recommend going if you can.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's very good.
So you said it's 20 hours for you, Ree?
I drove 20 hours, yes. Straight through.
So let me see. For me, it would be probably about 16, 17. I don't know about that.
That's crazy.
Or there's a thing called a plane. I just happen to like to drive. I love driving. I think it's a great way to see the U.S. And even though most of my driving is this half of it to wherever in the Midwest it is I'm going, I still love driving. Except for in Connecticut. Connecticut's miserable to drive through, no matter whether I'm coming or going. I hate that state.
I like driving myself. But, yeah, no. I went to Kansas. That was 18, so St. Louis is on the other side of Kansas City. Yeah, it wouldn't be that bad, I guess.
We drive to BGG so that we don't have to pay to freight stuff. I love driving. Nick hates it. I love it. I would drive. I was in a band when I was in my 20s, and we used to drive everywhere. So I've been around the country probably like 8 or 9 times, like all the way around. So I love driving. I'll carpool with you anytime, Rhiannon. I'll carpool with you, Barry, Anthony. We got stuff to work on, but I could see it happening maybe a couple years out. No, you can't bring your army of children with you.
Did you take the kids, Ree, or was it just you?
Oh God, no! I didn't take them with me. Why would I do that?
I don't know. I didn't know if you took the family, the husband, or.
No, I went by myself.
Didn't you have a Mad Max hat? Didn't we both get free Mad Max apparel while we were there?
One moment.
That's a yes.
We did. Yeah, I'm gonna get
Like,
it. So
I got
talk
a
about
Mad
yourself.
Max blanket. Check it out. Have you guys seen Mad Max? I'm sure you've already talked about those movies.
Nope.
Oh
No.
my god, I've seen it twice. It's so good.
I would have to make a compromise with my wife. I'm not sure I want to make. She wants to see that Pitch Perfect 2. I don't know if I'm willing to sit through that. Yeah.
Mad Max
Did
is
you
worth
sneak
it,
out
man.
and see it by yourself?
I
know where it
suggested that. I actually tried it, but it didn't work out.
You got caught. You got caught
Yeah.
going out the window.
We ended up going to Avengers that day instead. But,
No, I thought that movie sucked, man. Did you like it?
it was all right for what it was. I mean, yeah.
It felt like
I'm
it felt like there were too many storylines. Like there was definitely really good parts in the movie, but like I don't care that the Hulk wants to bang Black Widow. I don't care about like what's up with Ultron. He's like cocking his hips and stuff. Like he was like sassy, the world's first sassy killer robot. I like how I like the end. Like his big master plan was pretty neat. And then I'm spoilers. I'll just stop now. But the last 5 minutes of the movie made me laugh out loud at how ridiculous it was.
Yeah. It
Word.
was. No,
Mad
he's-
Max is awesome. I saw it twice. Go see it. It's the best action movie I've seen, maybe ever. But I'm a huge Mad Max advocate, so I am somewhat biased. I would gladly live in a world where I wear like a melted DVD case as a loincloth and roam the wasteland. That would be fine to me. Like I have the DVD case from Love Actually, and that's my only clothes. And it's just like a clamshelled over my groin, and I'm just wandering the wasteland. No, Keith?
Oh, I'm just shaking my head.
Did we lose Rhiannon?
We lost her. She likes Love Actually. I defended it.
She got lost going to find her hat.
yeah.
No, she came back, and then she went black, and now she's gone. Come back, Rhiannon.
Dropping like flies tonight. First Lance, then Ray.
Lance is there. He's just not saying it.
Yeah.
He's gonna do something horrible. I know when he comes back, it's gonna hurt my feelings. Something's happening right now. Like he's lighting the prototype I set him on fire or something.
That might be.
He didn't tell you, or he did that?
It's not a very good prototype anyway. It's like there's only art on like 3 of the 100 cards. So. You're gonna have to really use your imagination on this Kickstarter. No, all the art's finished. We just didn't get it done in time for because we send away to get it printed, so it's not just like scraps of paper in a sleeve, you know. So that the reviewers actually have something to hold and mess with.
Is this one you're bringing next week?
Yeah, we're bringing everything we
All
got.
right, cool.
I've got the production copies of Stuff of Legend. We got 4 of them, so I'll probably hand a few of those out to some reviewers while we're there, and we'll have one display. It looks really good. It looks really good. The second printing of Heroes Wanted is good, and this one is as good as that, but pretty cool.
My Heroes Wanted smushed
Why?
because Amazon doesn't pack boxes worth of shit. I mean,
Well, I can just tell me next time you want to meet up, and I'll help you out.
It's not a big deal, but
Well, it's not a big deal for me to give you a new box.
yeah, but you don't have to want to tore it up.
Yeah, I mean, replacing a box is a pain in the butt, man. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly. That's
the
why I can
worst
live with it.
thing.
It's there. It's just a squishy corner, and I'm just nitpicky. That's all. It's not a big deal.
That
It
would
didn't
bother
hurt it.
me.
That's a game. When I got the game, I cracked it out that day and played it solo to check it out. So, and I kept it. So that's a good sign.
That's cool. You should come by and check out the new stuff. The new stuff's fun. It's different. It's nice to be making a game that's not that game. Not that I don't love that game. It's just that's been the last 2 years of my life. So
Yeah, I would check out the new stuff because that's what I like. I enjoy checking out new stuff.
it's all small box games though. It's all like games that play in under an hour.
I really have a affinity right now for small box games. It's one of the things I keep picking up more and more of them. I enjoy having something I can just throw down and play quickly that I don't have like at the end of a night or at the beginning of a night and stuff like that. When you get to that point where some people start to get tired, you've got a nice little small box game to kind of keep it going just a little bit longer. So
It seems like people are figuring out a way to make games that play in like 45 minutes that the experience feels substantial, which is nice.
Yeah.
I understand why people don't like Splendor, but I do think Splendor, for what it is thinky for what it is. Thinky enough.
I mean, I've picked up a lot of little bitty games that I've really enjoyed over the past 6 months. You know, Boom Runaway and Good Cop, Bad Cop, and a handful of others that I've gotten. I can stick like 6 of those games in one big Dex box and just have all those games with me all the time. Eggs and Empires is another one I really like.
Yeah, I played the crap out of that game at a con back in March, a local con. We probably played that thing like 20 times.
Yeah, I love Eggs and Empires. It's one of my favorite small box games right now.
That's good. Have any of you guys played Lords of Scotland before?
I've not. I just saw they had a reprint of it.
Yeah.
Anthony, you played that?
I haven't. I think I've played it once.
Do you have any recollection of your experience?
I'm trying to remember, because I got that and like a bunch of those same types of games at the same time. I don't recall if I liked it or not. I still have it, so that's probably a good sign.
Probably.
The reprint looks nice. The art looks nice. The packaging is nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab it off my shelf. Hold on a second.
I was just looking at the reprint of Carson City.
Yeah, I heard that game is really good. And I've seen that it's been I saw it get played a lot at Geekway, and I went to a little local gaming meetup, and people were playing it. It got played, and then another group asked to play it right afterward.
Yeah, I had the base game. I was looking at the expansion. Well, they got two expansions. The one that you can't find, and then this new one. I enjoyed it. The only problem is there was a manufacturing problem with the board I got. When they glued the paper down, they left a couple wrinkles in. And when I got it, it was out of print, so it was like no chance of getting a new board. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the two new expansions for it.
What kind of a game is it?
It's a worker placement, but there's a bit of dice chucking in it. It's basically you're a Western and you're trying to build up a town, and you can fight for control of certain areas by rolling dice to shoot each other. So
Are there brothels?
there might be. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. Hey.
Let's see where this is going.
It's not a Western if it doesn't have a brothel. I'm just saying.
I remember a saloon. I'm trying to remember if there's a brothel. There might be.
You gotta have somewhere to get new workers.
Anthony, you found Lords of Scotland?
Yes, I did, and I do remember liking this. I also remember that the artwork reminds me of artwork that's done by that kid that you went to school with, and he could draw really good when he was 8.
Well, have you seen the updated artwork?
No, I haven't.
It's done by a 12-year-old.
No.
Yep. The updated artwork looks really nice. I mean, it looks like the game looks kind of beautiful. Not to sound melodramatic here, but it's pretty. It's like painterly, but it's not like I've never understood why people like the art of Puerto Rico, where it looks like someone's aunt. It was like, hey, our illustrator died last night. The only person I know who can do art is my aunt, who does it for fun. Let me see if she'll do the cover to the game. I don't get it. Band-Aid. Yeah, that's
cover.
It's nice. Is that the original cover too, or was this the original artwork cover as well, or is it just?
No, this is the original. It's plain blue with a sword on it. It's really.
Looks like a video game from 1979.
What, this one?
Yeah.
Zork? Is that a Zork expansion?
Wait,
cover.
Hold on. I want to play it now.
Yeah, I'm a sucker. As soon as I see a game that's like $20, I inevitably pick it up and I start trying to justify purchasing it. So, but I hate when they're 3 to 5.
So is that art better than your copy there?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'll show you some of this fine art.
Look how nice the art is
Get
on
this
these
thing
cards,
to-
though, right? Like, it's really nice. Not on Anthony's crappy copy. You can just throw that in the garbage, buddy. You got to get this new one.
No, this is like if this.
Whoa.
Is it Max Headroom or Anthony? Max Headroom. Get the way.
I can't eat. Yeah, there you go. We lost your picture there for a little bit, ain't it?
I think we did again. Hey, there's Lance.
Missed
Cornrows in? No
No.
cornrows.
No, I went and did something productive for a little while instead of
Oh, here.
talking to you. What is that?
It's Max. It's Anthony Headroom.
I don't think a lot of people know.
Anthony's being attacked by Ray Liotta in Virtuosity right now.
Wow, that's a bit of an arcane reference.
That was what it looked like, though. Anthony, what's going on, man? What's happening with your Tandy, your at-home portable Tandy? Lance, what did you say you did?
Can't hear any of you.
Oh, I went and did something productive for a little while, and instead of being abused. So there you go.
We lost Rihanna. We don't know what happened.
That sucks. I hope she didn't leave because I left. I know. My daughter was complaining about not being able to fall asleep.
She went to
so
get a
we
hat and
talked
then
a little
disappeared.
bit.
So we're not sure what happened.
Anthony's face
Why
is
did she want a hat?
Because they were talking about a Mad Max hat.
Keith has just been talking about
All right.
Ladies of the Night for like an hour.
Hey, I just want to know if Carson City has a brothel. That's all.
It's like, can you, like, next question, Barry, is there like
Carson
a
City? No, it doesn't have a brothel.
Then it's not a real Western. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Keith is like, Barry, could you hypothetically do combat against the brothel? Like,
All right.
say
Are you under the
murder-
impression that all they had was brothels back in the day? And
Well, yeah.
Come on, man, it's the oldest profession, right?
Exactly. Hey, I'll have you know I was saving
Uh-huh.
prostitutes in The Witcher, so.
I'm still considering picking that up. Is that worth playing on the old PS4?
I
heard
love it. but
Very remedial.
That's me. I'm hooked.
I mean, is it
basically what I've been playing.
just more of the same, just running around?
It's running around killing monsters,
Killing things?
doing quests, and following the story. That's what it is. It's kind of like you take Witcher 2 and marry it to Skyrim a little bit. So it goes more open world, got your horse to ride around on, monsters to fight, locations to go find out in the wilderness that have little things going on, monster dens.
They talking about the board
Points of
game or
powers and
just the
stuff.
actual game?
We're talking about the video game.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I heard the board game was not.
It's like one of those where I feel like I'm just sitting there waiting now, just waiting for the next Morrowind game, the next the sequel Skyrim, because that's like, I don't know, the only real. I mean, because Skyrim was pretty freaking awesome,
Yeah.
and so I just would. I would very much like to play the next one of that.
It's not quite as freeform to be able to do basically anything you want like Skyrim was, but you can tell it took a big lesson from Skyrim, and so I really like it. I mean, you can't customize the crap out of yourself like you could in Skyrim, but I mean, they've got so many details right. Not to turn it into a video game podcast, but his beard grows as you play the game, and you go get him shaved to cut it down, and it'll start growing again. You know, his hair gets dirty. His armor, after you go swimming, get out, it'll be dark and wet, even in the cutscenes, compared to what it looks like when you've been out of the water for a while and it's dry. Just details like that, they've really gone above and beyond. Every sword you pick up looks different. Every piece of armor you put on looks different. The details in the game are amazing. And it's well acted, and it is very profane.
Yeah, it's something that it's one of those things I'll wait until, like in a month or two, Best Buy or even the PlayStation Online will have it, for $40 download or something, and I'll just pick it up that way.
Yeah, the biggest thing I'll pick on is you'll be walking around, you got two big swords on your back. You ride into town carrying this dripping, bloody head of a griffin hanging off of your saddle of your horse, and then some idiot with a stick tries to take you.
I've almost finished Shadow of Mordor, Lance.
Oh, that's good too.
I'm really disappointed that I found the last artifact and nothing happened. I was like, what? I thought I was gonna get a cool little cinematic sequence or whatever. It didn't even give me any points or anything for it. I'm like, what the crap? And I found those stupid sigils on the wall, and that they at least gave me a little achievement for that. But I went out of my way to do all this crap. Normally, I don't mess with side quests if I play a game like that. I just don't bother. I just play the main game and be done with it. I was disappointed, but I have a feeling I'm approaching the end of the game, which I really like the game. So.
Well, I mean, the combats get a little repetitive and not boring. But I mean, it's just like, fight, block, fight, block. You just kind of. But it's very, like I said, it's very visceral.
Well, you're on God mode
What?
by the time. I said you're basically on God mode halfway through the game, where it's really hard for you to die. Unless you're just being reckless, and killing off guys it's all that hit combo crap like in the Arkham games. So once you get that going, it's cool. It's cool. It's obviously horrifically violent. Decapitate 400. I started to feel sorry for the orcs as I approached the end of the game.
Well, I remember when I was playing it, I got to a point where I was trying to see if I could somehow clean out all of the clean out all of the orcs on the little scene, with the leaders,
Mm-hmm.
If I hunted each one down and killed them, but now you can't really do that. They just replenish them, and it's just so. It was weird things that I tried to do with the game. I was annoyed when I wasn't able to
possess. Did you dominate, psychically command all the guys? I've done that. Not just the war chiefs, but all of their little diaspora of minions are all under my. So it's kind of boring at this point. It's there's no one left to mind control.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, like I said, it's a fun game, but it just you eventually reach a point where I think a lot of times with those games is that they don't plan on people playing them to super completion, if you will, and so the end game of it, here's the big bad boss monster on the end or whatever. They don't plan on you to be at that point when you run into them, being as powerful as you are, and so you kind of walk through the combat, and so they, it's weird, it's the scaling doesn't work.
Yeah, I think any game with a lot of side quests, if you do all the side quests, you are the god once you get to the main boss. But they've got to unless they make the whole game scale so it doesn't matter what level you are, then if you don't do that, then if they don't do side quests and they just want to push through the story, they'll get their butt kicked when they get to the boss. So they usually don't scale very well if there's a ton of side quests to level you. That's just, there's not many that do that. Unless it's a game that literally every monster is scaled to your level.
Well, and then that's one of the big problems that Morrowind had, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was Morrowind, but like you would run into, like you would be so powerful that you would run into like giant rats that had thousands of hit points towards the end, just because they didn't want you to run into things that were like super easy to kill.
Yeah,
which
you'd run into things that
isn't good.
You'd run into things as a noob that would kick your butt, but when you get powerful, you don't run into trash either. That's kind of how they did a lot of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Skyrim. The reason Skyrim was as good as it was because it was the first game where it was like, oh, it walks you through like the very beginning of the game, and okay, you know, make sure you do this, and this is how you do that, you know, and okay, you know how to do that, and then they just let you go. And then it was just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna head west. You know, even though it told you, oh, you should go to this town, you know, down the road. You know, it's like, no, that's okay. I'm gonna head west here into this forest and see what I find. You know, and then you just go looking for trouble, basically.
Yeah, the only part that's on rails is right at the beginning where it's pretty much cinematic and even gives you a couple old crap moments. In that intro, and then, okay, once you escape, good luck, do what you want.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't get a lot of time to play my video games anyway, but everybody said The Witcher is pretty much amazing, so I'll just kind of, like I said, wait and pick it up on the cheap when I'm able to.
Word.
So there was something actually that I was gonna ask you guys about. There was something like board game related. Give me a second here. You've been talking amongst yourselves for a while anyway, but I'm just trying to remember what it was.
Hey Travis, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I was recently talking to somebody about scalability in board games, and they were saying they're usually better if you scale from 2 players up rather than from like 4 players down to 2. Do you find that to be true, or?
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, 2 players can be tricky. Like, for example, the Scoundrel Society game we have, it doesn't work with 2 players. Like, it would just be so back and forth, and you would actually be incentivized to not play the game because how you lose is the person with the most suspicion. So it's a lot easier to track. That X factor of the third person goes a long way in making the game more interesting.
Is that why Lance burned it?
Lance burned it. Yeah, he hated it. Yeah, Lance told me he just hated it. Huge. He does not like The Great Gatsby. He thinks it's pornography. He will not have it in his house. Filth. He used to have an absinthe problem, so
okay.
it's like jarring to even think about.
Used to.
He has a giant tramp stamp that says "Wormwood Forever" on his back. So
yeah,
like
I have a friend who makes it a point to read The Great Gatsby once a year. I'm like, I always think, why? But whatever.
So the first game I did, Infamy, I tested that game as a 5-player game for 8 months of the year that I was testing and developing it, and I wanted it to be a 3 to 5 because it was an auction game, so you couldn't play 2. So I didn't want it to be 3 and 4 because that's just odd. And I know that's like a hated conundrum because now you can't buy it, you can't play it with your wife or your roommate or your twin brother or whatever other person is when you're in a 2-player game situation. And then people want this artificial player count of, I don't know why it's always 5 players, because I feel like most games that play 5 players are horrible when you play them at 5 players. Usually when you play a game at max players, it's bad, unless it's like a party game or something. And I just decided, like, whenever, about 8 months into it, I was like, the 5-player game sucks. It's not fun. It's way too competitive. Like, you fail, like the margin for failure, like the bidding became very distorted, the values became very distorted, and it sucked. And I just got rid of it, and I'm glad I got rid of it. And a lot of people, when the game first came out, the few people who knew it existed, whined and moaned about how they wanted it to be 5 players, or why isn't it 2 players when it's an auction game? It's just like the most idiotic thing to ask. It's an auction game. It's not Jaipur or whatever, so sorry. 2-player auction isn't something that exists easily. So, I don't know. I don't know if those are answers to your questions. I know I'm just trying to speak from my own personal experience, but we try to get, when we think about a game, like the game that Lance has right now, it could be 6 players, but it just gets messy at that point. Like, it starts to get messy and untenable, and I would rather not design a game with an artificial player count to sate the masses, knowing that I'm putting a quality game out there by avoiding doing so.
Makes sense. Did you remember, Lance?
No, I actually had something I wanted to ask too. Gosh darn it! Why you never remember these things?
Okay.
I'm just, hold on, give me a second here. I'm thinking. Shoot. God dang it! It was actually poignant too. It was gonna be like a talker that we could definitely discuss. And of course now I can't remember it at all. Oh well.
Was it the reasons why you burned Travis's game?
No, I didn't burn Travis's game. I just haven't had a chance to play it yet. I took a look at it, and it has no art or anything like that, which is fine. I once got I got asked to do a Kickstarter for somebody, and they basically sent me a bunch of paper, and they asked me to supply my own cubes, and I did it, but I was like, this is going to look awful. And they're like, no, that's okay. And I was like,
there's art on about 60 to 75% of those cards. The characters have art. All the layouts are done. Some of the illustrations weren't done, but there's art on enough of the cards that you can make a decent representation. I have art on all the cards now if you want to sleeve them, and I can send you the files, and you can cut them up yourself and put them in the sleeves. But there was no way I was going to meet the deadline for you to have ample time if I would have waited, because we're still waiting on 4 pieces right now. I mean, the game's got, 90 pieces of art, different pieces of art, so it's a lot. We actually have 2 illustrators on this. It's the first time we've had more than 1 illustrator working on a game. One is faster than the other.
Yeah.
Is it? Do you think that's going to be a problem?
No, it won't be a problem. I mean,
I can fly out there if you want.
No, that's more than fine. No, I it's one of those things where it runs as far as like what my prototypes tend to be for my Kickstarter videos. It's weird. I have a game here that I'm just almost done. The only reason I'm not uploading it right now is because I'm doing this. It's a game called We Have Goats. It's actually kind of a fun little game. My daughter and I played it quite a few times, where you have a 5x5 grid that you kind of create using cards. You put land cards down, and you have to build a path. Basically, this isn't the game. This is gonna sound a little weird, but everybody's played Trouble or Parcheesi or things like that, where basically you have to get your pieces home and you have to figure out which ones you move. So it's kind of like that in the really most bare bones basic of it is, where basically you play with, well, you can play with 2 or 3 or 4 people, but you put your goats in the other person's goat pens, and then you have to build a path that allows you to move your goat back to your own pen, and the first person to get all their goats back to their own pen wins. But of course, the problem there is that you're building a path, and somebody else can use the path. And so what you have to do then is that you have to build a path and then put obstacles that your goats know how to get past, the other people don't. And you can like power up your goats and things like that, and so it makes the game kind of neat and fun. And it's just the prototype I have is just a bunch of cards, and so so that it was fairly easy for them to give me pretty much a finished game. But I have no game box, which is kind of weird, but like I'll get that, and then like I'll get a game like I just got Monstrous, which is like a card game, and they have actually like professionally made box and professionally done cards and everything like that. They have like basically they've invested the money to make 5 or 6 good copies of the game that they're released to reviewers to set up for the kicks.
We have a guy that does. We have like a production guy that does all of our stuff, and he was out of town for like 2 weeks. So like the box I sent you is not even like. It's bigger. Like the box is going to be like the size of like the Citadel's box, like the Silverline FFG boxes, but we didn't have one of those around. Like he had them at his place, and he's out of town, so I couldn't do anything, and I had to get them out. So I took what I had, which was, the box size that I had available to me. But I mean, it's the Kickstarter page will have all the artwork up and stuff, so that should help. And I have assets if you need them.
Gentlemen, I am going to head out, and so I'll see you in a couple of weeks, except for Travis and Barry, who I'll see next week.
Yep.
Well, you're going to Origins, right?
Yep.
And then everybody here is going to Origins except for me. Is that what you're getting at?
Yep, pretty much.
Yep.
Well, Anthony's not going to Origins. Are you going to Origins, Anthony?
He's not there.
Oh, he's not there.
I don't think
I'm not. I'm not awake.
Yeah, I should
be wandered off too.
I should be getting in Thursday sometime.
Okay. I'll be around. If I see you, I'll holler.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Keith. I think we are going to try to do Boom Quest this Saturday, so
I should be available.
Never fear.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we got to get another session before Origins at the very least. So,
see if you can kill me or not. See if I can do something stupid again.
Doubtful. Well, no. Here's you. I got an email actually before you go. I got an email actually from some person from Portal Games asking if I was going to go to Origins, and if I was there, they wanted me to come over and demo some games.
Chevy?
I did. Yeah.
Yep.
Portal actually is going to be there.
Chevy
You know
Dodd's
Chevy
going to be
is.
there for Portal.
Yeah.
So Ignacio's not going, but Chevy Dodd's going to be there, and he's gonna run a few demos of like Rattle Battle and the Atlanteans for Imperial Settlers, and probably the other new game that it slipped my mind. So the 2-player card game, micro game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The number of odd emails I've gotten in these last couple of weeks are you going to Origins is making me sad. I'm not going to Origins because it sounds like a less frenetic pace, if you will. Oh man, it's been a long week already, and it's only Wednesday.
Yeah, it's going to be a long 4 more days of work because I'm wound for Origins. I can't wait.
Is that just because it's the whole, like, when you're waiting for that last day of school and it takes forever to get through?
Oh, God. I get antsy before I'm getting ready to go somewhere. I'm excited anyway. But I just can't I can't wait to get away from work. And so that just makes it double bad. So it's like I'm sitting there. Like,
Do you ever like when you work? Are you ever worried that I always get worried that like they realize they don't need you when you come back?
Well, see, that'll be different because I've never had them not text me and email me and bug the crap out of me while I've been gone for the past 2 years. I'm on the list of people that if certain people show up at the plant, I have to cancel vacation and come back to work. So,
Oh, I just remember what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So I'm kind of sad that Anthony's gone because I would have liked to have his opinion about this. And Travis, you're perfect for this, and Barry, I doubt you even care. So I saw somebody mention this in passing on Facebook or something. Some show that was called The Quest that was on, I don't know what channel it was, but it was it was on Netflix. It's on Netflix, and it was a basically a live action role playing reality TV show about like Dungeons and Dragons, basically. I saw. It was like, okay, saw this thing, and then I was like, okay, my wife watches a lot of really bad reality TV. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just turn this on, and I'm gonna watch an episode, and I know my wife is just gonna get sucked into it, and of course, she does. I watched like one episode, and it was just horrible. The whole thing was just awful. I don't know. Have you, either of you, Travis? You mentioned obviously you watched some of it or heard of
I
it.
watched like 2 episodes with my wife, and my wife was like, "This has to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life." It was like a guy.
crappy reality.
Well, it was so weird because it's like okay, so I don't watch reality television, but like as I'm walking through the living room, I'll like catch snippets of whatever it is my wife's watching, and you can just it's scripted, and it's like, okay, this person's going to win, or that person's whatever, and so you get the impression, but at least it's like it's founded in some sort of real, as far as like we're trying to make the best cupcakes, or we're voting this guy off the island or something like that. But this show, and I sat through an episode, which is more reality TV than I've ever watched before in my life. It's like they're asking people. Like there's like everybody else in on it and is playing a role in like a movie, basically, and then they take these 12 people and they don't give them scripts or anything, and they're just basically there to watch these people do their thing, and then they have to pretend that it's like real or whatever. I don't know. It was mildly interesting at first, and then it was like so bad I wanted to make fun of it. And that was at least fun for me. But I don't know if either of you guys had caught it or not. But
no, I haven't.
if you want to just watch something that's so bad on TV that you'll laugh, it's go ahead and check that out. The Quest it's on Netflix. All of season 1, and I'm going to guess all of that show that will ever be there. So that's my personal opinion.
It was really bad. It was really horribly.
It's like they would have like the queen's been poisoned. Oh my gosh! Then they actually like would go to the people and they'd be like, this is pretty important. I mean, she's been poisoned and they're relying on us to find the cure. No, it's not real. And I don't know. I can see why it was horrible. But if you want to laugh, definitely. Check out The Quest. And I thought it was like that really bad Van Damme movie. At first, I was like, "Oh, I don't know if you guys remember that one."
Oh yeah,
the Van Damme movie from. Well, Van Damme had a movie. It was probably early 2000s. I'm guessing maybe. Is that good? But yeah, called The Quest, and it actually had Roger Moore as a star on it, and oh god, it was horrible. But yeah, and then the funny thing was in there was like, okay, this had to be like on Sci-Fi or something like that, but no, it was like on ABC, like a real network, and yeah, so there you go.
They're running out of themes, I guess, for reality TV. Yeah.
I don't care what you say. This season of Survivor was so good.
I don't watch Survivor or anything like that.
I know.
Yeah, neither do I.
So,
I know. I can see up your nose
Yeah.
right now as you say that.
well, I've never watched it. I mean, I understand why people might get into might enjoy or get into the whole uh, like world or whatever, the reality TV and like buying into that stuff. But yeah, I always sit there and I'm going, oh, this isn't real. This is dumb. I mean, at some point your common sense has to kick in, and you have to say, no, this is impossible.
Well,
Right?
I mean, Survivor is essentially Double Dare on an island. I mean, I don't know what's fake about it. Like, what's fake about it? I mean, they're doing Double Dare games while camping outdoors and not eating a lot. I mean, like, there was a guy on the show this time that lost 65 pounds in the 30x days he made it to the end. And I don't think that is obviously fake. Like, they didn't CGI him to be fat, and then he lost a tremendous amount of weight. I mean, I'm sure I don't doubt that there's actually a reality TV, or there's actually not. There's a show coming out about how production screws with reality TV shows to get the results that they want, or like they do it in sort of manipulative ways where the people that are on the shows aren't even necessarily aware. I can't remember what it's called, but it's Natasha Leggero's in it. It's coming out soon on some random channel. Who cares? Anyway, but I don't think that necessarily the people that are on there are cast. I mean, like I said, I tried out for Survivor 4 times, and I got called back 3 times, and I went through the process and the initial process, and there's definitely like a legitimacy to it. I mean, I felt like there was no point they were asking me questions to probe to see how pliable I was to ratings, manipulations, or whatever the crap. But I mean, sure, there's some of these shows that are absolutely fake. I have no doubt. But I mean, I think that there's some of them that, within the confines of that setting, they are as real as they could be. You know, with people standing around filming constantly. I mean, that's already just odd, like very weird. Like, you're sitting outside in clothes you've been wearing for 30 days, eating a cup of rice and beans, drinking gross water that you've boiled, and there's like dudes eating Cheetos 10 feet away, filming you with like checking their cell phones.
Well, I'm always of the belief that like on reality TV is that they've already decided who's going to win or whatever. It's all fixed. You know, that's just me, I guess.
I mean, if that's true with Survivor, the history of Survivor shows that the least deserving person wins. And when I say least deserving,
well,
not even like in the people, like the history of the show Survivor is populated by winners who simply, this is what happens. Men are combative and competitive with one another. They're like, oh, dude, Chad is totally ripped. I got to get him out of here. He's going to win challenges. So the guys like start picking each other off, and then at some point, and there's 30 seasons of the show, and then at some point, the women finally just have a conversation. They're like, oh my God, like they got rid of Chad and Brett and Jake and Jack, and there's like 6 girls and like 2 guys left. Let's just get rid of the guys. Like, that ends up happening, or like, and then like one guy will win a bunch of challenges because there'll be like more physical challenges, and I'm not saying that a man can win the challenges because they're more physical, but it'll shake out that way. And then what'll end up happening is like 2 or 3 people will make it through to the top 4 that are just nobodies. Like, they didn't argue with anyone, they didn't win anything. They didn't like annoy anyone. They have like blah personalities. They flew under the radar the whole time and let the people that were the alpha type A people just mow each other down until there was only like one of those people left who's still calling the shots, and these people are like the drones, of the show, and like one of them will often win because everyone, like the people that are on the jury, are pissed off that they got voted off. I hate Chad. He was mean or whatever. So they'll just vote for someone to spite the guy that should have won the game. So very rarely does, like this last season, a person won the game that deserved to win the game. And that does not happen that often in the show because there's a big social
But
dynamic
Steve,
in that show.
you say all that, right? But it made for good TV. It made people.
But that's not
You
true.
got all.
The show was in jeopardy of they had to constantly add in all these weird rules twists to try to keep people watching because there was just season after season of like random housewife or 20-year-old girl barista that did nothing on the whole show, did not deserve to win $1 million, did not even play the game. They were just drugged through the process, and it was pissing off the viewers. So I don't think that I mean, if that is a ploy from a writing staff or production, it is a very bad one. It's like, what if we just killed Superman off in the first 10 minutes of the movie and we just made it about a guy whose car got damaged in a fight between him and Lex Luthor? That'd be a much better Superman story than the story about actually the characters that are interesting. I mean, it's I don't doubt, like I said, I don't doubt that there is manipulation. Like, there was definitely a couple moments in the season that were like, they do things like, oh, that's weird. They put the only black guy on the team with the 3 blatantly racist white men. Like, that kind of stuff is intentional, obviously, and to provoke reactions out of people that make for, quote, good TV. But, or like, oh, there's a severely homophobic Christian person, and they're on a team with 2 gay people, or a transvestite, or something like that. I mean, those situations are obviously contrived, but I don't think that every moment of the show is contrived. There's certainly a
It's all
formula.
made up.
Well, I know you believe that, and you want to believe that, and nothing is going to convince you otherwise, because you're always...
Well, it's just... Well, thank you for realizing. I do appreciate it, but no, I think the problem is that, well, I mean, it's just so weird that, I mean, thankfully, it seems like the years of the big it looks like reality TV being the only thing people have on TV anymore. It seems to be finally be going away, which I appreciate a great deal.
I don't think that's true at all.
I mean, reality TV shows are getting like mainstays are getting canceled all the time now. And
no, there's definitely good shows. There's other shows, but it's like reality TV, instead of being everything, it's like half of TV.
Yeah, and it'll hopefully get even less, because reality TV is garbage.
It's a vanity platform, right? Like, the big appeal to these shows is that anyone can apply, and they'll possibly pick you, and then you get to be on TV. Like, so I think that there's a bunch of doe-eyed mouth breathers that populate our country that love that notion, and therefore will watch these shows, which will continue to perpetuate them into whatever. I mean, yes, there's definitely like a standard of TV that is fighting its way back from the minutia that is reality TV. I mean, even like the Netflix formatting is a new thing, right? Like, that's like a breakthrough. Like, here's a series, you can watch it all, binge watch it, like the binge watch thing that Netflix is doing, which is interesting, right? That's different.
Well, I like that though. I hate having to wait a week, and I rarely do. The only show that I actually wait to watch is Game of Thrones.
Yeah. What did you think of the last episode?
It was good. I don't know. You see, it's weird talking to you about it because you haven't read all the books. So,
I've read 2.
I've read all the books.
How much are they veering? I haven't read the last one. How much are they veering from that?
It's kind of off the rails at this point. You know, you just can't have all the people. Are you watching the show right now, buddy?
Yeah.
Barry?
Yeah.
All right. Spoiler or something that happened this season. If you're that person who waits to get the DVD and you're not going to watch it, so you can turn this off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Like Barristan Selmy is still alive in the books,
Okay.
and Jorah and Tyrion haven't even come close to making it back to the mainland. There is a huge subplot, two huge subplots within Dance with Dragons. One is one of Prince I can't think of his name, like Prince Oberyn, or whatever. His nephew Quentin is actually like in Marine, and he is trying to he was sent there to try to win the hand of Daenerys, and like convince her to marry him. And so there's this whole thing where he and a couple of these guys are running around Marine, just basically just like Keystone Cop. They just can't seem to do anything right the entire time they're there. And Quinn eventually ends up he tries to subdue one of the dragons, and it ends up like burning him alive and just dies. So they introduce this whole big character, and then they just come off immediately. Like he's in the entire book, and then like the second or third to the last chapter, he's killed off. Like I said, Barristan's alive. Jorah hasn't even come close to getting back to there with Tyrion. They get captured, and they actually join the mercenary brigade called the Second Sons.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the Dance of Dragons, the book, ends. Well, first of all, also, like Victarion Greyjoy, like the Theon's uncle, there's this huge plot line with him heading towards Marine to go find Daenerys, and he has made up his mind he's going to make Daenerys his wife, and he is heading to with like his giant fleet of ships, and he's heading there. So basically, in Marine, what happens is that there's two giant armies that are attacking the city. There is the people within the city that are fighting. Barristan Selmy has arrested Daenerys' husband, who is going to be the same guy that she's saying she's going to marry in the books, like the weird guy who wants the slave pits open. Right. She's married him, but he's like a traitor, and so Barristan Selmy is arrested him at the very end of Dance with Dragons. Basically, all like 3 or 4 of these armies show up at the exact same time, including Victarion's fleet comes barreling in. And there's going to be this huge giant battle that's going to happen, in with probably at the very beginning of the next book, and they haven't. The Greyjoys are just completely written out of the show at this point, which pisses me off because I actually really like the Iron Islands. I like their characters. The only person that's still around is Theon, just because he has to be there. Ramsay didn't marry Sansa. Sansa's stuck in the Vale in the books, just sitting around doing nothing, just and being worthless. Roose has married Ramsay to Jane Poole, which was one of Sansa's friends in the first book, because she bears a likeness to her, and they're saying. I think they're saying she's Sansa, if I remember correctly, or they're saying that she's Arya. I can't remember which one, but they're basically saying she's the last remaining Stark. Yeah, and so they're saying she's the last living Stark, and so then to legitimize Ramsay, and Ramsay like rapes and abuses and tortures Jane Poole. and eventually her and Theon try to escape. And at the same time, the one thing they do right is that Stannis' army is coming down towards Winterfell, but they get snowed in. They literally can't go any further. They get snowed in and they have to stop. And the whole thing is just I don't mind the fact that the show has decided to go in a different route and decided to do something different. It doesn't bother me because it's telling me a different story, and then I can read a different story. So I'm going to basically get two stories out of the Game of Thrones world. What bothers me is that like the ultimate fates of the characters are going to be the same. They just might not reach that ultimate fate the same way. And so like I'm going to know like what Cersei's ultimate fate is, but because the show is going to get me there sooner before the book, and it's just like, so it's going to ruin a little bit of the surprise. But I can't stop watching this either because the show is good enough to keep me interested. I mean, the weird thing is that I'm purposely not saying what happens, the big major things that happen at the end of Dragons, because of the fact that like you know how this is going to end, and as far as the season, I mean, you just kind of can see it coming. I mean, the fact that they just kind of just completely written out the Lady Stoneheart angle as well really bothers me a great deal, actually. But that's just because they're trying to get away from the whole supernatural thing. Then the other, I forgot, major huge thing, and the Dance with Dragons. Okay, so Tyrion is on this boat, and he's traveling, and he runs into these guys, and he starts talking to them. And there's these two older guys and a younger guy, and he's sitting there, he's talking to them, and then he figures out that these guys were used to be, knights or lords. And they fought on the Targaryen side of the rebellion, the battle, and so he's sitting there talking to him, and then the younger guy, like he's sitting there talking to the younger guy, and they're kind of going back and forth. And after all these conversations, about halfway through this travel, because in the book you can write a long exposition about a boat ride, and people aren't going to get annoyed and stop reading because you can fill it full of a lot of interesting details and things like that. This is, once again, if you haven't read Dance with Dragons, the book's been out forever, so but quick little thing. This is a huge plot point. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can mute me at this point. It's Daenerys' nephew, the boy that was one of the babies that was supposedly killed by the Mountain when they went in and they killed the mom, and then they the baby and smashed its head. It was a different baby. They had actually grabbed the boy child, and I can't remember his name offhand, and what's his face, the Lord of the Spiders, the guy Varys. Varys sneaks him out of there and sends him to live across the ocean with these two guys, these two knights, and he sends them over, and they raise him, and they're bringing him to go meet Daenerys, and so she's to basically go and find his aunt, and they've got an army, and it's just and the movie's just not even, the show's just not even going to touch on this. They're not going to do anything with it. This is like a giant reveal in Dance with Dragons, because you're under this impression that Daenerys is the last Targaryen. I mean, she's the mother of dragons, and here's this Targaryen that's still alive. That everybody assumed was dead, and they're just not going to have that in the show. It just, I don't know. It bothers me on a pretty basic level, but
this season feels really I don't like the very linear pacing, where it's someone will say something in the next shot. It's very obvious. It doesn't feel, I don't know. It just feels very feels very obvious to me. The last episode, and I'm not all up in arms about how the last, not this episode, but the one before ended, which that was all over the place in social media with what happened to Sansa at the end of that episode. But that episode,
this is a little disgusting. Here, hold on, this is a little disgusting. I mean, it could have been worse because what happens in the books with Jane Poole in this situation, how do I put this delicately so we can still maintain at least kind of a PG-13 atmosphere here. Ramsay, when he approaches Jane Poole, who I believe is a virgin in the books, when he approaches her, he finds that she is not ready or aroused enough for him to complete the evening. So he makes Reek fluff her, basically, so to speak.
Yuck.
And it's like it's one of those things. You're reading it and you're just like, okay, why are you doing this, Mr. Martin? It's like it's like you'll read his books, and they're very, very, very well written, and they're very descriptive, and kind of like, wow, this guy really knows what he's doing. And then you'll get to a 2-page thing where he just decides to graphically describe lesbian sex for like 3 pages, and you're just kind of like, did I step into a really, really old Piers Anthony book at this point? I mean, it's just like, what am I reading at this point? But yeah, that's just my opinion. So
I think that's one of the reasons I stopped reading it. I got sick of hearing about food.
Oh,
That's
my main complaint: food and clothes.
So I started. I was actually doing an audiobook of the 5th one. I started to. And then I don't know if it was the guy's voice reading the book or just going on about meat and food and all that, but I just stopped, But
there's a very funny YouTube clip of George R. R. Martin reads fairy tales, and I forget the first 2, but the third one is it's like little, and they just basically got some bearded guy to do it. It's like Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey, and her jam sauce with this, and like he goes into this like, and like it's like creme brulee seasoned with this, and like, and kind of fades off and goes dark, and then and it comes back, and a light lamb sauce with extra and he gets a then he gets along came a spider who sat down beside her and shot her in the face with a crossbow.
Yeah.
But I thought that was very apt.
It's not just the food; it's the clothes. It's like Tyrion, the room in a crushed velvet doublet, sitting down to drink the finest Dornish wine and eel pie or lamprey pie. And then like, it's pages of this nonsense, and I feel like it's there to juxtapose and drive home the point that these guys go through all of these social pleasantries and formalities, but they're all just like really want to just murder each other and be horrible barbarian killer jerks, and they're going through the motions. But it feels, when you're reading it, it feels like he's getting paid by the word or something. Tyrion was very, 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 very sad. All right, cool. 1 page. Let's keep going. I breezed through the first book, like really liked it, and it took me. I read the second book between Gen Con 2013 and 2014, and like part of that was the fact that my wife, we were having a kid, and the rest of it was I sit in the bathtub and I like to read. I'm like a menopausal divorcee or something. I love. We have a big garden tub, and I like to sit in the bathtub, and I take a bath every day, and I love it, and I love to sit and read, and I just could not force myself to go through reading this book, like the Sansa chapters. Oh my God, it was like watching iCarly or something, or reading iCarly or something. It was terrible. But the show's good.
You're just. It was good though.
But going back to the show, I don't get what the big uproar was. I mean, they've had scenes where, the brother was raping the sister over the father's coffin. That there was a baby killed during a red wedding. So I don't understand the big shock value of that. Not the last one, but the one before that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those things where, and the thing is that let's be honest. What happened? She got her dress ripped, and then you just basically. I mean, not to trivialize it, but I mean, it wasn't nearly as graphic as the Cersei. And I think a lot of that might have to do with the fact that people are just glad that Cersei, got hers, if you will, in some weird way, just because people don't care about her, because her character is just completely and totally morally reprehensible, and people just want her to die and they want to see it. Like my wife, perfect. Like when they threw her in. Spoiler alert for this most recent episode. I mean, the end of the episode is Cersei getting thrown into prison. For being a horrible woman, and my wife said, she was like, "Huh, that makes me happy." Just because she's just so, horrible. It's the thing that probably bothers me the absolute most about Joe and about the difference in the books is that the books and it's just, and this is same with any book. The books have so many more wonderful moments and wonderful lines, and like if you've read all the books, I mean, Tyrion, he really gives Tyrion the best moments, and they even give Tyrion the best moments when he's not even in the spot. Like there's this wonderful period of time where instead of sending in the show, they've sent what's his face to Dorne. And in the books, they didn't send him. They sent some other King's Guard. I forget what the guy's name was. Basically, just some B character. They sent him down to try to get Myrcella and bring her back. And so, but no, they have. So they send. Why can't I think of his name right now? Kingslayer. Can't think of his name. Save my life.
Jamie Lannister.
Jamie, yeah. So they send Jamie. Off because there's still like these last bastions of resistance, to the Lannisters, and like the Tullys are still like holding out, and so they have like the Blackfish, Edmund Tully, is like holed up in his castle, and so they've been sieging the castle for weeks, not months, or whatever, and so they send him to go and see if he can broker a peace, and so there's this like this moment where Jamie goes and there's these other Lannisters that you meet that you would never see in the movie, just like this uncle of his, and that isn't Uncle Kevin, and an aunt actually, and there's this wonderful conversation he has with his aunt, and they're talking about the fact that Tywin's dead, and she's like, and like she says, and he says, "Are you going to go to the funeral?" And she's like, "Well, I should, but Tywin hasn't spoken to me in years, and never hadn't spoken to me in years." And he's like, "Why is that?" And she's like, Well, it's like he said he was talking about his children, and he was talking about Jaime and Cersei and Tyrion, and he had talked about he said that Jaime was like the best of his kids, and like how he wanted the best for you and everything. And then I told him, you may want the best for him, but the one that's most like you is Tyrion. And then when she told him that, he swore he'd never talk to her again, and he left. But it's true. I mean, Tyrion's just as smart and more intelligent. He plays the game better. He and she's kind of funny too, because she tells Jaime, like, it's like you're good with the sword and you're good looking, but you're nothing but muscle. You're just kind of stupid. And which is true about Jaime. He's a tool. He's not a player. He's just a guy that, before he got his hand cut off, was like probably one of the best swordsmen in the realm. But other than that, now he's like the one thing he had, he's lost. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know. I really like it. I like the scope of Martin's vision. And the fact that he's got all these different characters. But I mean, the thing is that it's gotten away from him in a way. I mean, he has a guy that, like, by the second or third book, this guy was like tracing just because, who knows? I mean, you always know those people that just have way too much time on their hands. Like, they're independent, wealthy, or for whatever reason they just don't have to work. And so, like, these people like keep these huge spreadsheets of information that they just find really interesting. And this guy just trace down all these genealogies of all these different characters in the books, and then he was actually like marking down where they were at any given time. It's like, oh, they're here, and then they're in this location, and okay, they're in Castle Black, and so going through the whole thing. And he met Martin, and Martin was so impressed with him, he like hired him, and this guy's job is to remind George R.R. Martin who his own characters are in his books, and who they're related to, where they are, what they're doing, what have they done in the past. And it's just, I mean, I don't even think, I mean, that's why it takes him so long to write, I think. I think he has a really, really broad strokes of what he wants to say.
It's
but
like
he doesn't have any.
The biggest continuity since the Bible.
Yeah, I don't think he has any idea. I don't think. I think it's one of those things where he probably looks at it and he probably says, "How am I gonna put this together?" It's like when you open up a puzzle and there's like you open up a puzzle that says the big red square, and you're just like, "Oh God, I guess I can find the corners." Just like try to work from there.
Is this why you talk about food so much, maybe? It's just a stalling tactic.
Well, I don't know if it's just. I think it's just his way of writing. I've read some other stuff by him that wasn't Game of Thrones, and he's very, very descriptive, and just, he definitely belongs, as my wife says, he belongs to the author's world of why use 10 words when you could use 30, and I think he enjoys it. I think he likes. I think he enjoys, like, let's see how crazy I can make this. I think he likes doing that. But that's just my opinion. What the hell do I mean? The guy's, he's making his money hand over fist. It's just, he just, doesn't have to. And he's got people, he's dropping breadcrumbs on the ground, and people are just gobbling them up any chance they can get. I mean, every so once in a while he'll release a chapter.
Yeah, sample chapters.
Yeah, we'll just devour them. I mean, there was a really good Arya chapter that he put out there. But the thing that stinks is that there's so many things that you just know that they're just telegraphing. Even if I hadn't read the books, it's like you can just tell what's going to happen. You know, I mean, with Arya and just being the House of the Faceless Men. Okay, so she's going to learn how to be an assassin, which cool. It's a good story arc for her. But people forget, that like, oh, okay, well, it's like part of Cersei's little plan was, well, one of the first things that she did was she sent Mace Tyrell to go to the Iron Bank of Bravos to talk about the money that they owe, and then she sent Sir Meryn Trant with him to protect him, which ostensibly, theoretically, she could have maybe sent Meryn Trant to try to kill him, for whatever reason, who knows why. But who else is in Bravos? Arya, who has sworn, what is one of the names that she repeats every night as part of her prayer that she wants to kill, Meryn Trant. So
She's not got many people left on her list.
No, she doesn't. I mean, but it's not tough to put the lines, the dotted lines together. You're not telling me by the end of the there's going to be a situation. I'm dollars to donuts. Say there's going to be a situation that Meryn Trant is supposed to probably kill Mace Tyrell, just to weaken the Tyrell family, and Arya is going to kill Meryn Trant. And there's going to be a situation where, like, she's just going to be there. She's going to run. She's going to go find Sting where she hit him, and she's going to run back and stab him in the neck.
Sting, Needle,
or Needle. Sorry.
But
you know that's going to happen. It's whereas in like the little short story and the books and everything like that, that isn't who she kills. I mean, in the books, Sam Tarly and Gilly and her baby and Maester Aegon and that one random guy from the Night's Watch are the ones that travel down to Bravos, and they head there, and it's just, like I said, they're telling a different story, but with the same major points that they're trying to make, which I don't mind. I just, it's one of those things where it's just, it's too obvious. It kind of keep itself hidden and try to keep it, kind of clever. And now I just think it's kind of beating people over the head with a hammer now, with what's going on. And they've just kind of given up on. I mean, that whole scene in the prison with what was the point of having the one chick show off her body to Bronn, and then like, oh, you feeling okay? Oh, just at this moment when I start to take off my clothes is when the poison's gonna happen, and then I'm gonna throw you this like little like thing that has 2 drops of magical antidote. I always love poison at it. All you need to do is drink it, and like literally seconds later, it's somehow permeated your entire body, and you're fine. It's like you're at death's door. Movie poison, love it. Any nerve damage or any organ damage you may have had, from like the hours it's been coursing through your veins has been instantly repaired in the last 5 seconds.
Well, you have to. I'm not a big, I'm not the kind, you can tell me anything about how a story ends, and I will still enjoy watching and or reading said story, because to me it's about how you get to that point. It's not about. I don't allow myself to be idiotically surprised. I always get very shocked at how people want to be so willfully ignorant. Like, oh, come on, man, don't tell me. It's like, so yes, I understand where you're coming from. Where like if you sit and think about it for a minute, it's pretty clear where some of these things are headed. But at the same time, I think it's probably okay that some of the things are obvious. I think it's probably okay that some of these things have a more linear resolution. Not everything is going. I mean, did you ever see the movie Adaptation? The Nicolas Cage with Meryl Streep. I love that movie. I love that movie. And it's like he's trying to write this story that's not a story, that has nothing predictable or linear. And then like he goes and he sees that the guy who has that workshop, the film writer guy, and he's like, so you want to have a story about nothing? And the guy just like tears him apart, tells him how stupid it is that he would want to do something. He thinks he's turning his nose up at Hollywood because everything is so predictable and blah 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 blah. But I mean, the story is doing interesting things within the confines of linear storytelling. I still feel like the thing that's amazing about Game of Thrones is the world is so gigantic. I mean, it is populated with so many people. I mean, and it's to the point where like you're naming off all these people. You remember these people. Like I remember these people. I knew when you were talking about Maren Trant. As soon as you start talking about it, I'm like, oh, Maren Trant. Like, how do I know that? Like, I've watched the show, I've read the books, but like, why would I allow some part of my brain to retain that information that's clearly not really valuable or anything other than talking to someone else who likes the story? So I don't know. I don't have such a problem with some of the things being somewhat linear, personally. Do you, Barry?
Nah, I mean, they're filming for the general mass, people. But do you think the show would continue to be as popular if they went word for word with the books? I mean, with the supernatural stuff and all that. Or do you think people would just start tuning out?
I don't think that it'd be possible to follow the books. There's too many players and there's too many things going on. So that the way they branched off was a necessity. Not to go back and beat a horse here, but like you said, there was like Arya doesn't have a lot of names left on her list. Okay, that's cool. But like the Hound. Okay, Sandor was awesome. I mean, he was a cool character, and he, and the guy that got to play it, perfect for the role. And but in the books, it's all but bashed over your head that he isn't dead. She leaves him for dead. Like, and it isn't because he fought Brienne. He fight like these three guys from like this one crazy group of bandits basically that kind of run around, and she leaves him for dead. But later they say they hear about a guy that's wearing the Hound's helmet and he's running around killing people. Well, it turned out that it's just some guy who found the helmet, put it on, pretend he was the Hound, and just to scare people. But they go to, and I can't remember the name of the place. It's an island, and they go to this island, and they talk to this monk of the Seven, and he actually talks about the fact that he was there, and he says, I was there the day the Hound ceased to be, or whatever. It's very cryptic. And as they're walking through this little monastery or whatever, they look over and they, of course, nobody's there to know it, but they look over and they see this large horse, and by the description of the horse, it's obviously the Hound's horse. And then they also mention that they see this monk walking around really tall, really broad-shouldered, just this huge guy. But he's got a hood covering his face, and he's just going about his deal, just kind of, being a caretaker. And so it's just like, it's heavily hinted that this guy went, found the Hound, saved his life, and then he's retired now to become a monk in this monastery. But the backstory to that, of course, is the fact that he's probably kind of fated to be the guy that kills the Mountain just because he's hated his older brother forever. And the fact that it's also heavily hinted, and they also heavily hinted it in the books and in the show now, that the Mountain's not dead. That weird, crazy guy is going all Frankenstein with the guy's body, and to reanimate him, if you will. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. I mean, the weird thing is that Brienne is like, I don't think he ever runs into the Hound in the books. Brienne never finds Arya, never sees Sansa in the books, and she actually, Lady Stoneheart, if you know what I'm talking about, actually captures Brienne and Pod, and another dude for that matter, as they're traveling around, going around looking for the Stark children, and accuses her of being with the Lannisters and following them and doing their bidding or whatever, and they end up almost killing her, hanging her. And then what happens is that she swears that she will go off and find Jaime Lannister and bring Jaime back to Lady Stoneheart. And I forget what book it is. It's either in Dance or it's in the preceding one. Brienne tracks Jaime down and convinces him to come with her, and she's bringing him back to Lady Stoneheart. And it's like, it's just... the books have these characters doing things that aren't even close to anything that's going on in the show. So I don't know what's going to happen in a lot of cases.
But I don't think that's necessarily a problem. I mean, if the show tried to replicate what the books did, people would be bitching even more because they would have failed in some way. Remember, I worked in a comic book store when the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie came out. People would come in and just be foaming at the mouth, like, organic web shooters, like it was the the fascist party had risen from the ashes in Germany and was marching across the Atlantic Ocean to come and kill his family. But first, they were going to let him know that Tobey Maguire had organic web shooters, and that was the nail in the friggin' coffin. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, people, I don't know. I don't. That stuff doesn't bother me. I'm fine that the show. I haven't read all the books, admittedly, but quite frankly, I don't. After reading the second book, I don't know that I could stomach reading another 200 pages of clothing and food description. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like it really is ridiculous. Like, it got to the point where it's funny that Barry said that, and I didn't know that was amusing that anyone had picked up or had aired about a complaint about the books. But for me, it was like I couldn't do it. I'd sit down and I'd read a chapter. I'm like, God, and I hate the Wall. I call them the snow vegans. They're the worst. I hate the Wall. I hate all of those characters. They're so goddamn boring. It's all of them. Oh, I took an oath, but I'm going to go to Moletown and bang some prostitutes. I took an oath, but I'm going to leave and go do something that has nothing to do with my oath. But I took an oath. It reminds me of these hardcore kids that I used to know whenever I played in punk bands, like when I was in my younger years. And it's the same thing. It's like they're picking and choosing the parts of this moral code that they espouse, and when it's convenient for them, they lapse back into being hardliners. It's so annoying. I think Jon Snow is cool, but obviously he is the most egregious offender of this. It's ridiculous. It's just boring and depressing. It's like every time I read those chapters, I like just imagine being on the Wall, and I'm like, God, this place sucks. It's boring. There's nothing going on. It's just a bunch of creepy dudes hanging out. None of them want to be there. Most of them are there because they have nothing better to do. It's just terrible. It's like guys who hang out on a stoop or something, but instead it's a glacier. It's boring.
The only other time my wife had made a comment about last week's episode was when Stem and Gilly got it on, and my wife says, "Good for him."
I was very I went to bed that night feeling satisfied that something bad happened to Cersei. And I don't think Cersei is... You know who I still think the most evil female character? Alithia in... Did you watch the Spartacus show? Did you watch Spartacus at all?
Yeah.
Nope.
You know what I'm talking about, Barry, the blonde chick?
Yeah, she was.
Evil.
She was.
I think she was... Like, Cersei is conniving. Alithia is evil. Like, just blatantly, horribly evil. So, yes, I was satisfied to see something bad. I hope the day that Ramsay, and I love that actor, the guy that plays Ramsay, but when Ramsay dies, I feel like it's like they should have just cast Eli Roth to play Ramsay. It's just like torture porn. It's like the Hostel movies. Remember whenever that's what horror movies were for that like 5-year period. It was just like torture. It was like BDSM torture porn was the like.
Yeah.
The murderer was always just a regular guy, and he was just willing to do gross stuff to you. I'm going to cut off all your toes and put them in your butt. You're like, that's the plot of the movie. It's great. I love it. Let's film it. So, I don't know. I'm sick of that Ramsay guy. When he dies, I'll be happy. Whenever Cersei... I mean, I don't know. I kind of like Cersei, even though she's evil. I like her to an extent. I thought it was very funny in the show when Dany finally saw Tyrion, like, because I kept imagining those bad lip reading videos that they did, because her face was like, oh, like when she saw him, she was like, a what? Like just imagine some Valley Girl voice going out of her mouth. Get him out of here. Remember she said that about Cora? Get him out of my sight. You got a present for me? Okay, what is it? That's awesome. Thank you.
It's just, yeah, no. I mean, it's just like, I like Jorah. I like he's much better written in the books.
That actor is awesome. What's his name? Ian Glenn.
He's very good. Yeah, he's been good in everything else that I've seen him in. The Onion Knight. He's
the voice
great.
of the Wraith in Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
Right?
But the Onion Knight, Davos Seaworth, another great actor that played there. He's I liked him as well.
Yeah, he's good. His character is really good. I like him in the books. I love the story of like his whole background with Stannis, where he like saved his life, but Stannis still punished him as a pirate. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in the books, he talks about it, and he said that he saves his life, or whatever, and then he said that he was going to cut off the top knuckle of each of on his hand, and he agreed to it. He agreed to the punishment, but only if Stannis did it himself. And he was like, "You got it."
It was nice.
Yeah,
to
no
see
problem.
It was nice to see Stannis actually show some emotion about his daughter. I thought that was nice, because he's such a unlikable prick in the books.
Yeah.
I mean, they make the point, like, they spell him out as that, right? Like, without you even, like, you don't even really get a chance to know Stannis, because Martin like casts him in that light from the get-go, where Ridley is talking about, no one will love you because they won't follow you because you're essentially an unlikable person. But it was nice to see him do that. I mean, there's been some really good moments in this season. I also have the musing that the dragons are the worst teenagers ever. It's like Drogon, the lamest named fantasy thing ever. It's like, what would be a good name for a dragon? Oh crap, I don't know. Just change the A to an O. That's fine. Whatever, that works. I love how when he's on like the balcony thing in Marine, he like looks at her like he's like the teenage kid that just the mom caught him in his bedroom changing his clothes and he's about ready to go back out and like on another tear. Catches him just for that brief moment. I love you. Don't do this to yourself. But I want to burn 3-year-olds in sheep.
Yeah, the actor for Stannis is he's a good actor too. I mean, and Stannis is a very he's a tortured guy, and truly a person who has one of, if not the best case for being king. It's just he's just such a unlikable dink that you just can't. And the thing is, what's sad about Stannis is that he ultimately has to die. I mean, he just has to. It won't end well for him. And I mean, mostly because he murdered his brother. I mean, and it's just. And I think that's the one really good thing that the show has done. Is that no matter what character, with probably the exception of Ramsay, and Roose, and even Roose though, because he kind of puts Ramsay back into his place every once in a while, so you kind of almost sort of kind of like Roose, but not really. He's even the most evil of people. They've had a moment of humanity. And they've given him, and so I mean, ultimately, Cersei, yes, she's just a wench and she's horrible, but he, she does. I mean, ultimately, what was she's like with Tommen? I mean, she was like, I'll do anything. You're my child. I'll do anything for you.
But it was bull crap. Like when she's saying it. Like the whole time she was saying that, I'm like, this is not true. Like his happiness.
Well, I mean, if you read the books, I mean, and I think that's what they're going for is a correlate with the books. Is that, I mean, all she has left at this point is her children, and that's why she sent Jaime after Myrcella. I mean, because she wants her daughter back. She wants to protect Tom. And you see, and that's the weird thing too, because in the books, Tommen is like 10 or 9.
Yeah.
And he's just super young. He isn't like 13 or 14 or whatever that he is in the show. I mean, and technically too in the books, when Daenerys gets sold, basically to Drogo, she's like 14.
Yeah.
And so it's and obviously you couldn't show that in the show. It probably would have been a bit of an uproar, but
even
yeah,
Arya,
I mean it's
yeah.
Yeah, and Arya is much younger than she is, and yeah,
I mean, Littlefinger. I don't feel like Littlefinger is a horribly despicable character. I mean, he's cool because he's like a.
Well, but he killed Ned, and for that he must die.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just certain people that you just.
Ned, he's done more. I mean, he's essentially seeded all of this. He set all of these things into motion and continues to stoke the coals. Like he's not. It's not like he just did one thing.
Oh. Yeah, he has no allegiance to anybody but himself. I mean, he left Sansa there, and they just did a lot of things that are really horrible, and he continues to do horrible things, and so.
Yeah, but what is his motivation? Honestly, does he have like?
He was always on the outside looking in. That's his whole thing, and he never had any power. He never had anything. He wasn't noble of birth. He's just slowly but surely, clawed his way to where he is.
But he's been
he was in love with Caitlyn. He was in love with Caitlyn Stark.
No, I know that.
And then
I know all this.
And then Ned stole her.
What's his end game in all this? Because it almost just seems like he's he's like Michael Caine's description of Joker, like in the second Batman movie, where he's like, some men just want to see the world burn. It's like, does he have some grand?
No. He just wants more power. He wants more power, and he wants to, be, at the highest rung he possibly can have. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, I don't think other than that. I mean, there's no mere purpose behind it, other than just trying to be the biggest man that he is, because he is such a and it's spite, it's anger towards. I mean, it's just my feeling, but I mean, it's anger and hatred over all the people that looked down on him, at one time.
His
Or another.
accent.
I did like the fact that Oleana called out further establishing and further my belief that the highest hero is Holland Reed, and by saying, because she calls him out and says, when she's talking to him, she's like, spare me. I know a good or it's like I know a bluff. I know a ruse when I see one. I've done as many as you. And he says, very well. I mean, like, he admits, it's like, yeah, I'm not who I say I am, but I'm not going to say who I am. And I think that in the books and in the show, when they actually do, because Halloween is going to be, because Ned Stark was his best friend, and I think that's going to be a nice reveal, when and if that is actually what
I'm gonna have to bid you adieu. I can hear my daughter in the background raising hell. So.
Well, I was just gonna say we should probably cut it short. We're all rambling now and talking Game of Thrones and going nuts. This is a Weird Alaboom. Like I said, I left because I was being petulant child, but then my daughter woke up and so to go talk to her. It's last week of school, and she's a bunch of stuff she's got to get done. So then I was gone for a while. So I hope you guys didn't. What?
Then why were you being impetuous?
Oh, I was trying to be funny, and then of course it turned into a real break because, like I said, my daughter woke up and she wanted to talk to me, so I wandered off and had a conversation with her.
Don't try to be funny. That's my job. Your job is to be serious, long-winded. We want you to take. They say the fastest way from point A to point B is in a straight line, and I think you have proven time and time again that is not true.
Well, I don't believe in. I don't believe in being succinct.
Brevity is not your strong suit, my friend. It's as though if you found out that you were headed north when you meant to go south, and you're like, you know what? Let's just go the complete way around the entire Earth until we end up where we're at, rather than turn around and go the 2 miles when we do in the other direction. And I
would. Yeah. All right.
Why are you going? I mean,
my butt has been kissed enough. But to everyone who took the time to sit through all this, I hope you guys didn't curse and swear too much while I was gone. I appreciate if you didn't.
I did say some things I probably shouldn't have said.
Nice, excellent. For those of you who hung out as long as you did, thank you very much. As always, I think this was kind of a low key Alaboom. I think it's weird. We didn't go crazy or step out of our comfort zone at all this time. We'll have to make sure we do that next time.
Yeah.
Barry took his shirt off for 20 minutes while we were gone.
I did a pole dance.
So. Sweet. There's a lady that I work with, nice lady, Bicken and very very outgoing, very interesting lady, who talks about her pole dancing aerobics like constantly at work, and like it's a workout routine, right? Which fine, whatever. I realize it's a legitimate workout. It looks like it's tough. I probably couldn't do it, but I always wonder when she's like talking about it. It's like, is this inappropriate? I mean, am I gonna get in trouble just for being around this? Her talking about this and talking about whatever new move she's trying to teach herself, as far as like, I gotta have my one leg wrapped around this way, and then I lean over backwards this way, and then I grab onto the pole with my elbow, and it's like, okay, need to know if HR is going to come home and yell at me for just hearing you talk about whatever newfangled move you just learned. But yeah, that's a real thing. People are like trainers for it and stuff like that. I don't know.
Gotta be careful at work.
Good for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just want to like kind of just be like, okay, I'm not really having this conversation. I don't want anybody to bring this up ever again.
Barry, I look forward to hugging.
All right, my friends. Thank you as always, and for the people that were in our chat room, I apologize. I probably didn't see any questions. I hope people tried to answer the best ability. I saw Seth Jaffe was in there briefly, so thanks, Seth. And of course, our number one friend. Well, we have our standards. Like we have Sir Bob and we have Paul and Brandon. So thanks guys for tuning in like you always do. Really appreciate you taking the time. And I think we should have a night. And Maui Chris as well. So I think we should have a night where we have like all of the. We've had Paul on a couple of times. I think we should get Sir Bob and Paul and Brandon and have like a super fan episode night some night. I think that'd be fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Woo! All right, boys. Get some rest. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
All right. So.
Bye bye.
Use it.